is the Levels Network. I am Justin Horo, and I'm not joined by the triple OG, Willie Mason, joined by my man, the grub of former Hoops and Hits fame.
Yeah, former. Let's get that correct. Former.
Mate, I had a great time with you throughout the year on that show, and it's awesome to have you back.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me, boys. Always love when I get the call up off the bench. I feel that's with a couple of the little gigs I do, I feel I'm good off the bench. Week to week grind, consistency, no. Off the bench, I'll give you a bit.
You're the ultimate competitor too, so I know you're going to give it your absolute
everything.
All, just like when we played against each other back in the day, mate. And Lukey has given it his all. He's come straight from the airport. It was supposed to be Dior Dave, but Lukey, he's got here in time, the 11th hour. Give us a recap of what happened in Vegas, mate. Disappointing result for Timmy.
Of course.
But run us through the week.
But yeah, we were there all week thanks to No Limit, thanks to Kay. It was just incredible over there. Obviously, would have been nice to see Timmy get up at the end, but the MGM Grand was rocking. I didn't mention it. He was actually getting more cheers than Fundura.
Oh, awesome.
In the arena, everyone was going mental. So that, I think, 7th or 8th round, right at the end, where he sort of gave it to him before getting licked a little bit, and then they called it. Crowd was going mental for Tim. So
did it feel like there were heaps of Aussies over there?
Definitely. Yeah. 100%.
Awesome.
So it was a real good energy. It was just a really good week. So shout out to KO, shout out to No Limit. I think the big fella had a bit of a funny cross.
Yep. I trained with Braith this morning and we had a bit of a chat about it. I actually text Braith while it was happening. And you could tell the big fella's been on the back end of a couple of big days, but also as you were saying, it's a midnight cross over there.
Yeah,
so
midnight Friday in Vegas as well.
That's a tough carry, man.
It was.
I think he let out an F-bomb in there too.
Yeah, but that's Mase.
That's Mase.
It's 6 to go with Mase. But you know what I found interesting, boys, was you mentioned about Tszyu. I think, is it because maybe he was just the underdog card, and you know that everyone sort of wants to get behind him. But what I also found interesting was Fundura was the favourite in America in the odds. But Tszyu was the favourite over here.
Oh, there you go. So the market.
It just shows you how it depicts, isn't it?
Yeah, well, whatever they lost on that market, they made up on the Manny Pacquiao Barrios being a draw at the end of the day. So Manny Pacquiao I couldn't believe the shape that he turned up. 46 years old, 4 years out the game, and he's thrown some of the best quick combos I've seen in years.
He's a freak.
Next
up for Timmy will probably be Zarafa, we reckon, boys. Yeah, that'll sell some tickets.
Good grudge match.
Yeah.
But I think the measuring stick for Tim will be whoever Fundura fights next. Let's say it's like a Charlo.
Yep.
And if Fundura can do that to Charlo, and I think he will, he super impressed me. He changed his game plan up from the first fight with Tim. He was not just trying to hide behind his jab. He was hooks. There was everything. So shout out to Tim, man. I hope he's doing all right. He went straight to hospital after the fight.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah. And you know what? I've been seeing social. Oh, my God. I don't even know why I go on him. And people were saying, cannot believe he threw the towel in himself. And stop that. Because he went, eight or so rounds with a bloke that is actually in his prime, and he will beat a lot of big names soon. Like, I can guarantee it. But I would love to see those people in that situation, after you've been dusted for multiple rounds, come out. It's tough, man. It's tough. One-on-one in the ring.
Timmy's a dog.
That's what I mean. Like it really
standing next to Fundura at the media days before.
He's 6'6".
Literally, yes. And like this, he's
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, I can't believe it. And just looking at him, he's just so, obviously everyone's tall compared to me, but just like, because there's no thickness to it, it's just a beanpole. Yeah. But it's
skinny.
He's an incredible athlete for that build. Yeah. He's the tallest world champion in boxing, period.
Wow.
Taller than heavyweights. And he's, 70 kilos?
Mate, that's got to be such a huge advantage if he can continue to improve his game and keep that distance and just chip away. And just, like, how can you get in there, really? Like, if he works on his craft. Like
I've always, sorry to interrupt you, mate. I've always thought, what would have been the biggest difference in reach and a guy's won, the smaller guy? Ooh. Because how do you get in? I was actually thinking about this while watching the fight. I know they say work the body, but if they're actually jabbing you constantly away, you just can't get in.
He's a proper outlier. Fundura is a proper outlier.
Literally.
For that size, that height, you're saying he's bigger than the heavyweights, but also
and he's the most kindest, nerdiest dude.
Yeah, he looked cool.
Yeah.
He looked nice. I was watching the content going, I sort of like this guy.
So do I.
Didn't want to like him.
Yeah.
Who's the tallest guy in the NRL? Nelson?
Yep.
The
new kid from Broncos. Takura.
Is he, what would he be, 6'6"? No.
6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, but he's not 70 kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable.
Grubby, every fortnight we get to chat. I do a little segment with Foz and Money on rotation. Unfortunately, because of Money's circumstances, we're just giving him a break for the next couple of weeks. So we've relied on a couple of mates to help him out. I've got a chat here with Tommy Dearden. Going to chat a lot about the Wally Lewis medal, his rough start at the Broncos. And, we really appreciate Tommy coming in and filling in for Money. Welcome back to a very special episode brought to you by Athelite. As you know, for this season, we've been rotating between our good friends Cameron Munster and Kieran Foran fortnightly. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances of the passing of Money's father, we've reached out to a couple of good friends of his, and we're going to give Money as much time as he needs to sort of go through the healing process. So what I did was I reached out to a couple of his good mates, a player who just got they said that you couldn't get it done, Tommy, but you just come off the back of a really big series, mate. So first of all, I want to thank you in jumping on behalf of Money and joining us for Athelite and Levels for this week, brother.
Thank you for having me on. Looking forward to it.
All right, mate. This is what we do. So for our audience and through Athelite, we give away a recovery and performance pack every week. For your chance to win, if you're watching this right now, all we need you to do is go in 50 words or less, give us your performance by a player or a team to win. Luke will share the link for Tuesday's episode. We're filming this on Friday, just after Tommy had finished playing against the Dolphins. So I'm going to ask Tommy about the Dolphins for sure. And the winners from last week were Lauren B, Michelle C, and Narelle K. We also got last week's winner, Tristan E. He said he's an L1 from day one. Cheers, boys, from the Athelite care package. Just got it in the mail. Tried messaging on Insta, but it didn't get through. Absolutely love your work. So love your work, Tristan, and love this guy's work even more after a huge series. So let's get into it, Tommy. Have you had a chance to reflect on one of this roller coaster series that you just went through? There's so many ups and downs, mate. It starts off with a really disappointing loss game one at Suncorp. You're coming off the bench. I thought you were one of Queensland's best. Then you're called upon to replace Ches, who's dropped as skipper. I'd imagine there must have been a whole heap of a bit of a bittersweet feeling with that promotion. Billy and Woodsy have a bit of a stash in game two. That gets highly emotional. You still got to go to Perth to keep the series alive. Then 3 or 4 days out from a decider, once you get it done in game two, you're rocked by the passing of Money's old man. With all that and Money playing and the emotion of all that, you go on to have one of the best performances at Origin level ever. You win a player of the match and you get a Wally Lewis medal, mate. Like, there's so much to unpack in everything that I just sort of, read out there. But have you had a chance to, sit back, reflect on it? Because I know you've played 8 games in 3 days with club level as well, mate. Have you been straight back into club mode, or have you had a chance to reflect on a huge series that you just went through?
Yeah, we did have. It's been a big week having to play 3 games in 8 days, but we had a bit of time to myself in a few days, and I think when you get that chance and get to look back on how the Origin series played out this year, and I know, looking back at game one, I think there was a few people that wrote Queensland off, and I think the way that we bounced back in games 2 and 3, and the way that we rallied together, and I think just when I do think about it, it was everything that happened throughout the series. It just brought us all together and closer as a group, and I think that really was what shined in game 3 in the decider, and I think. When I think about it, like taking over from Ches in game 2, I was very lucky that over the last couple of years I've been in Maroon's camp and I've got to work with Ches and see the way that he leads the team around the park and how he prepares for Origin games. And he's the ultimate professional, and he's someone that I've always admired in the way he plays the game and the way he goes about his business. And I think when I got my opportunity in game 2, I felt it was obviously quite nervous, and but I was ready to go, and very, very excited for my opportunity. And I think the biggest thing with the nerves was I got to just look around the dressing room, and I realised in game two I was playing alongside Harry Grant and Cam Munster and KP, and they were in the spine. And I think when you look at the quality of those players, they make you feel comfortable and very clear to just go out there and get your job done. And I think that's what you enjoy and get excited about with playing Origin, is you're playing with some of the best players, but you're also coming up against the best players as well.
What about the quality of your coach, mate? Billy Slater. He's done it all. He's won 3 series now out of 4. He made a number of huge decisions throughout the series, and had to deal with a lot too with the emotion, like I said, in game 2. What was his key message to you for game 2, even before the decider? Right, game 2, you need to get the job done so you can at least send it to Sydney. What was his main message to you, mate, when he gave you the 7 jersey?
I remember when he gave me the call, he said he just wanted me to go out there and just play my game. And I know the biggest thing that Billy drives when you do play for him is you got to go out there and get your game on. And I didn't have to go out there and be Daly Cherry Evans or Cameron Munster. I just had to go out there and try and get my game on. And I think the greatest thing about being coached by Billy is you feel how passionate he is about it, and how much he believes in you as well. And I think heading into that game 3, I've never felt so dialed in on my job and ready to go for the assignment ahead. And it's a credit to Billy and the way that he brings this side together. And he makes you proud to be a Queenslander.
Mate, you'll hear that all the time, and I'm sort of a neutral. I sort of lean towards you guys, Tommy, with a few relationships that I've had at Queensland over the years, and more so, I like to give it to Mase when you get the job done as well. You constantly hear about, you don't own the jersey. Like it's a privilege to get it, and with some of the performances and some of the key stories, you're one of them. You're a huge one, because I've seen a stat following the decider. And I'm actually in at the SEN studios. Our man Joel Kane shared this story. At one point, Tommy, you'd lost 25 games in a row. Like, you went through a really rough time at the Broncos. To come from where you come from during that period to being on stage next to Wally Lewis, holding the Wally Lewis medal. Did you ever have any doubts, mate, early on in that career? Because I think it's a really good story with perseverance. And did you have ever had any doubts about whether you could get to that level of play?
Yeah, I'd get asked about the Broncos days a fair bit, and I think when I look back on that period, I think it really shaped my career and my sort of resilience and confidence as a person. Because I know, as an 18, 19, 20-year-old, when I had those early days at Broncos, and I know the stat was going around about how many losses in a row, and I just remember feeling it. I don't know whether I was ever doubting myself, but I was just sort of questioning whether I was made for playing in the NRL, or whether I belonged in there. And when you play at NRL level, it's results driven, and the results are ultimately what matter. And I know I wasn't getting them early in my career, but I think the thing that helped me is I got my head down, and I kept working hard, and I always loved the game and been so passionate, and it's the only thing that I've ever wanted to do. And just got my head down and kept working, and sort of tried to steer clear of focusing on the results, and just really nailing into my game and the type of player that I wanted to be.
You're obviously a big name player coming through, and you would have played at representative level coming in. To debut so young too, mate. Like, you're going into, I'm just getting it up here, 24 years old now. I'm starting to get in that cherry ripe part of your career. You start to feel even more so like a first grader. Pros and cons, like, every kid wants to debut as early as possible, and get the opportunity to play first grade. In hindsight, is it one of those things? Maybe an extra year developing, learning, being around first graders. Do you think that could have been a part of the issues early on? It was just, it is what it is, and you're happy you went through it.
Yeah, I think certainly looking back on it, I think it is what it is, and I think I got so many learnings and an experience from having to go through that. And I know when you look back in hindsight and sort of the situation the Broncos were in as a club during that time as well, I think it was a pretty tough time for the club, and I sort of got my opportunity through that, and then yeah, it didn't quite work out for me at the Broncos. But so also got to be very thankful to the Broncos as well, because they gave me my opportunity and my chance to debut in the NRL, and I grew up in the junior system of the Broncos as well, and there's still plenty of good mates and plenty of good people that I've got to be so thankful for helping me through my journey there.
Yeah, for sure. Like if you look at them now, even at the Broncos, there's so many guys now that have developed into really good first graders, teammates, and even at Queensland level with Paddy and playing against Payne. So you went through some tough times, but it seems as though all of you are flourishing now. What about on the opposite side, mate? You're just coming off against a disappointing loss to the Dolphins. I want to speak specifically about Isaiah Katawa. I feel like you two guys are set up to have a bit of a rivalry, not rivalry, a healthy one at that. Being the same age, he debuted at a really young age as well. Didn't play finals in his first couple of seasons at the Dolphins, but looks like they're trending the right way. What's your thoughts on Isaiah? Do you watch much footy? Outside of, I know the guys watch a lot of footy when they're doing review, preview, you'll do stuff with the spine and stuff like that. But just outside of it, as a bit of a fan, do you watch players and what's your thoughts on Isaiah Katawa? He seems to be doing a good job at the Dolphins.
Oh, he does. Yeah, I do try and watch actually as much as I can of Isaiah Katoa, because I think the way that he ball plays and the way that he shows the ball and manipulates defensive lines with that, and yeah, he's a special talent to watch, and I think I know even last night when we played the Dolphins, he's so hard to defend because of the way he plays and the way he squares up the defensive line, and he's always showing the ball, which it makes defenders get jumpy and reacty. And I know, yeah, what he did last night. You got to make sure you're at your absolute best to be defending what he throws at you and the way that he plays against you. And I know last night it was quite disappointing because we were way off the mark, but yeah, just the way he plays, it's sort of it's a special talent, and I've never really seen a half like have the tempo and the time that he has with being able to show in and throw dummies into the line, and yeah, he's just absolutely pulling defenders' pants down at the moment.
Yeah, so young, mate. Like
Yeah.
I speak to Fozzie and both Money about him, and they say the same things as you. Like for such a young
Yeah.
age to be doing some of the stuff that he's doing, looks like he's going to have a huge career. And I reckon he might be on the opposite side of you very soon, wearing a Blues jersey in the next couple of years, because he is a real talent. Speaking of talent in your own team, you've been paired up recently, and in and out just because of injuries, I suppose, too. Jay Clifford goes down with a quad injury a couple of weeks ago, so Jackson Peru is back in the halves. He's having a real breakout season, mate, playing in multiple different positions. Tell us a little bit about Jackson, where you think his future lies moving forward with you. Do you like, sort of what you've been able to build in the halves so far?
Yeah, I think the Jacko's greatest attribute is he's just a footballer, and he gets out there and plays, whether that's at centre, fullback, or in the halves, or sort of anywhere in the back line. And he's a special talent because he's got so much speed and so much footy IQ, and I think he just sees the game and reacts to what's happening in front of him so well. And I think his best position is definitely in the halves, and I think that's where his future will be. And I know since he's come in NRL, he's played a lot of centre, so he hasn't really got the reps in pre-season or experience in games of playing in the halves, except for sort of this year and the few games that he's played. But yeah, I'm just really excited, and I think the best thing about Jacko is he's so eager to learn, and he's always asking questions, and he's working on his game, and yeah, that when young players are doing that, you know that they're in for a big future.
Well, mate, I just want to thank you, first of all, for jumping on. Good luck for the rest of the season. I know it's tough for players, especially when we booked this at the start of the week. I was hoping you're going to get a win rolling into this,
Yeah,
but
would have been good.
really appreciate you taking out the time. Mate, all the best for the back end of the season. Hopefully you can string a few together and play finals again this year.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on too. Cheers.
All right, boys. Grubby, in order to build out our show, we often get comments from our listeners on YouTube. And we have been chatting a lot about the Ashes tour that we're going away to at the end of the year. So me, Mase and Lukey are heading over there for 2.5 weeks. We're going to go do the 3 games over there. We're also going to talk about the coaching a little bit as well, mate. You've spent some time in the Super League, just like me, more recently, with your stint at Hull. Actually, that's the you and Mase have got a little bit in common.
We
You're
do.
both whole legends for different sides on different sides of the fence.
That's a big call, calling me a whole legend.
Whole legend. Well, Mase.
If you want to light that up,
You can't put grubby in that with Mase.
No, but what you just wait till the whole KR fans.
Oh, no. Trust me. FC fans, they wanted my head. It'll be close. No, honestly. It'll be very close between Mase and I.
But you are well and truly Dogs legends, so that we can confirm. We got a message here from Ben Smith around the best English 17 team. So last week we had a message and we had a punter, and there were a few changes. And he also gave us a tip up on a few players that we'd named in our team or the last person had named in his team. They're actually injured at the moment. So apparently Matty Ashton of the Warrington Wolves, he tore his ACL, so he's out, definitely. Jack Wellesby, the superstar from St. Helens, who I'd love to see here in the NRL at one stage, Grub, he's going to apparently miss as well. I think he's nursing a knee injury. So their predicted lineup, there's a couple of players playing in the NRL on the back line, in AJ Brimson at fullback, Dom Young on one wing, Herby Farnworth in one centre position. Jake Wardle from Wigan, he was sort of just starting when I was playing over there. Now he's established himself as a gun centre.
Yep.
He's like a hybrid centre back rower.
Yeah,
he even spent some time over here at the Knights, didn't he? Jake Wardle. And then you got a mixture of between Liam Marshall from Wigan and Tom Johnston as well. I want to chat on these selections in particular with you playing in the halves over there. So George Williams apparently is going to be the sixth and skipper. He's got the relationship from Sean Wayne from their time at Wigan. And Ben Smith has tossed up either Harry Smith or Mikey Lewis. Who would you go with?
Now you just said that George Williams is going to be the 5'8".
Yep.
So I like okay. So it's Mikey Lewis.
Yep.
He's a freak.
You like him?
Had some good tussles with him
Yeah.
because KFC.
Yeah, that rivalry?
That rivalry was huge. And
Yeah.
mate, that was my job.
Yeah.
Just go after him.
Yeah.
But can play.
Yeah.
Got that flair in him. Big cocky and over the top, but that's why he's good.
Yeah.
You know, man of steel. He ain't the man of steel for no reason.
He's got a bit of front about him, mate.
He's got a bit of front, and he lets the other fan bases know after he scores. He scores about 10 tries a game. He can score a try. I will say though that now you're just saying that. I was going to say Mikey Lewis for sure.
Okay,
but I think with Williams being the type of 5'8" he is, you need someone to take control.
Yep.
And
game manager. Harry's a better game manager.
Harry's a better game manager.
Okay.
But if you want to open up a game, Mikey Lewis is your guy.
Okay.
And, you know, we've seen in the past where you've gone two sort of live wires. I wouldn't call. Well, let's look at Queensland right now. People were saying, could Dearden and Munster work? I would call it a very similar comparison.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like that.
Just two guys that can win you a game off simple plays, but then you got Harry who will kick you to corners, kick you to death, kick early.
He's your Ches.
Yeah. No, literally. So it's whichever style you want to go with. Both could definitely work, but I'm putting Mikey Lewis in there to ruffle a few feathers as well because he's not going to be stepped down from no one. The Aussies, no way. And that's
Man of Steel last year, Mikey
He was Man of
Lewis?
Steel. Yeah.
And he's been part of the English team now off the bench, I think, for a couple of years. So
Yep.
he's been thereabouts. And Harry Smith's obviously had the success at Wigan, like a couple of premierships. He's won a whole heap of trophies. In the forward pack, I think this is an all Wigan front row, so maybe Ben Smith might have an allegiance to Wigan here. Luke Thompson, Cruz Leeming, Ethan Havard, Junior Nsemba is also Wigan. Matty Nicholson and Victor Radley from over here in the NRL. If Mikey Lewis is not named in the 7 jersey, Harry has him on the bench, or Jez Litton, and then you got a couple of the Morgans. Morgan Smithy's playing at the Raiders, Morgan Knowles at St. Helens, and then a mixture of Tyler Dupree or Matty Lees. Not a bad team, mate.
They're a good team.
If you know you Super League, you know this is with the mixture of English NRL players they've got. It's a good solid lineup.
If Wellesby plays as well, it'll be a big inclusion.
Yeah.
Because if there was one guy, Hoz, that I thought could come over from there, it's him.
Yeah, agreed.
Everywhere I played, we played St. Helens heaps. Reason, like we played him 2 or 3 times in the season, then we played him a couple of times in Challenge Cup, so we got to see him a lot.
Yeah.
He carved us every time in multiple positions. Played 5'8" once, played fullback once, I think he was on the wing once.
Yeah.
He's just a football player.
Yeah.
He's everywhere, and if he plays, who'd you say the hooker was?
Cruz Leeming. Yeah.
Another reason why you'd probably go with Harry.
Yeah.
Cruz is a jump out and go.
Yep.
He's not really like getting you in behind the ruck. So, or you have 3 guys that just attack. Who they got for fullback? Brimson.
They've got Brimmer at fullback again.
Man, good spine.
Yeah.
Wherever they go, it's going to be a good series.
You know what? The more you talk about it, right, with Cruz Lehman and AJ Brimson as well, like they're not like, they're run first.
Straight away.
So if you have you can go all out of balls attack and you can go Mikey Lewis, George Williams, even George Williams, like he's been around for a while and he's structured, but he wants to run down a short side. He wants to play short sides, right?
So that's where is George with him play? I thought he's playing halfback now for Warrington.
Yeah.
So why doesn't he just play half and let one of those like live wires play that bit
maybe
of a
just
different
to
role?
account for that they've got, and rather than having out 6, and this is just a predicted lineup from Ben Smith, who's a fan, by the way. This is by no means what the team's going to be, but he just thinks George Williams, who's played 6 throughout his career as well, can do a job there. And I think it's more so that Harry and Mikey have been going so well for their respective teams. Mikey just got his first trophy with the Challenge Cup over there for Hull KR, which was huge. So trying to fit in either Harry or Mikey.
You see much of Knowles?
Yeah, I love Knowles. Love Morgan.
He'll come. He signed with the Dolphins next year.
He has.
He's a player.
Yep. Both Morgan Knowles and Jack Wellesby were coming through just as I was leaving. And then because I was just recently removed, I was watching a lot of, how my mates were going over there, the boys from Wakey, the teams that they were playing. And, I'm super impressed. I reckon Morgan Knowles, I've been calling for Jack Wellesby to have a crack over here for a while as well. Matty Ashton's also a really good player as well for Sam Burgess at the Wolves.
An interesting one I'd like to hear, what was the opinion, the guy who wrote the message
Ben
in?
Smith?
Benny's opinion on Jay Connor.
Jay Connor.
If he can write, give us something. Cause
did you play with Jay Connor?
I played with Jay Connor. And mate, probably a guy that if I played against him, probably I'd lose it. Yeah. Because he was on my team, and I would be saying, and this is me, Josh Reynolds, the grub, saying, bro, you cannot say that. But mate, because he's obviously hasn't been. Well, he's not in the squad.
Well, is he not at all?
No, he's not in the squad, and this is what happened. If he's leading the Man of Steel, by the way, by a few.
Yep.
I think
playing for Brad Arthur at Leeds at the moment,
and he's had a altercation with Wayne.
Okay,
and
Sean Wayne too, by the way, not Wayne Bennett.
Yeah.
Probably people were unfamiliar.
So they asked him after he got man of the match, and they go on the panel and they asked him, and he goes bluntly, I haven't got a call. And they're like, would you fix your relationship with Wayne to get back in his squad? And goes, I haven't got a call. That's just him to a T. Mate, swallow your pride. Get in the team because, mate,
I'm a fan. We had I've got a famous back and forth with him where I got the better. I got the better of him. Birdie loves it. Greg Bird, we're playing at Catalan Dragons. It's funny. I just texted the boys this morning. I seen him ripping into Wakey, and he was, he's a mad chirper. And I gave him a bit of back and forth, and then he's really good mates with the guy that I was playing with at Catalans, and he's going, "What's up with Horo? Like, why is he getting into me?" And all this
Really?
stuff. But it's because he antagonises everyone.
Yeah.
I'd watch video of him leading into it, going, "This guy's just hammering everyone." And this is 2017 grub. He was just 50 games in at this point. He did not care. He's the exact same person he is now. I love him as a player.
Yep.
I've watched him. I reckon he's a gun.
Yep.
Really unorthodox too. Positionalist. He'd be gun to have as a 14, I reckon.
And that's at the start of his career he couldn't really find a position. But then for us, and by the way, Jakey, he's always into me on my Insta. You never talk about me. You never talk about me on your shows. Here you go, mate. Here you go. So I'm trying to get you in this England squad.
Yeah, let's get him in.
So we can dust you anyway, by the way, us Aussies. But I will say, mate, and I hate saying this because it's a bit of a lover's tale. We used to fight in the field. Yeah. If I wasn't giving the ball out the back when he wanted it, what are you doing? Go back home, get back to Australia. But then at the same time, mate, 3-on-2s out the back of sweeps. Don't think I've seen many better.
He's super strong, mate.
Oh, man.
Super strong. He's one of those guys, he's a ball runner, and stuff happens around him because he competes on everything.
So it'll be interesting to see if that may fit, because if he's in the squad, there's another threat.
From my time, we've spent a lot of time on this too, by the way, but over there in the Super League, Sean Wayne strikes me as the sort of person, it's like, when you're done sort of guy. He's really old school.
Grudge.
And he's I think he's come from a rough upbringing. So I think the stubbornness from both of them will unfortunately lead to Jake not being a part of the squad, but he is definitely quality enough to be part of their best 17. All right, mate, let's crack these Red Bulls. Here we go, Grubby. Get in front of you. Welcome to our Red Bull segment of this week. And Grub's OG Bull of the week, of the weekend, was for the Cronulla Sharks, mate.
Yep. Blake Brayley. And look, this is, I'm going to go for the last month. He has been, whoever has told him to start running the ball a little bit more, he's just added a whole nother dimension to the Sharks attack and the style he plays. Every single time, I don't think I've seen him, and hookers can overrun sometimes.
For sure.
He's picked the right opportunity. And what it is, right, is there's been pressure on the Sharks halves.
Yep, big time.
Who's 5'8", who's halfback? That it seems that one of them takes control of this and that. I think personally you need to have one of them in control. But look, sometimes it works, but Brayley's taking the heat off him because he's just going straight through the middle of every single team. And they're not expecting it because he's never done it his whole career.
No, he hasn't.
He's done it occasionally. But then I think this little stint, mate, and I know being on the show with Loz, I'm not saying this is not, like, this is just, he's definitely amongst it.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I think Reece Robson, I actually think he was one of our best in game 3, by the way.
Yeah,
this is nothing against.
I love Reece Robson.
He ran the game. He ran the ball and was probably our biggest threat.
Yep.
But I just know the type of style he's playing now, he's a great defender. He's playing some really good rugby league and the Sharks have, like, finally they've got some, I suppose, identity around Blake Brayley, which we're not, used to. It's all around all the big guns usually.
Well, my criticism of the Sharks has been they offer nothing through the middle because they don't have a ball playing lock, and because Blake Brayley, in, like you said, previous to this month, has been a distributor, like a really clean, good, nice, clean ball, really good tackle efficiency, good defender, really good. He's always available too. I don't think he's missed a game.
120 something straight.
That crazy, right? And you know how hard it is to get up for NRL week in, week out, Grub. So I've always liked him as a player. I'm the same as you. I think he's taken his game to a new level. And you know how I love pressers. I've seen the presser with Fitzy last week, not the Roosters game, the week before. And apparently they've been trying to drum it into him for a while.
Yeah.
And he was filling in for Cam McInnes at the presser and even had a bit of a laugh to himself as like, all right, like they've been trying to tell me for a while. I know it's in my role and I know I've got to get an early touch. So great signs for the Sharks.
Oh, they needed it because they hit a wall. And it's probably the biggest team for me where I look at their team on paper and they're losing games in the origin period with no players gone. Come on, boys. Like you hear the likes of, because you wonder why. You look at their back five, strong, get you out of trouble constantly. You look at their halves.
They always run for over 100 metres, all 5 of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Can finish a try, both wingers. Centre's crafty. You look at their halves, 2 very, very dominant halves, very good halves. And you look at their pack. Well, where's the weakness?
No, there's not.
There's not.
Yeah.
But then, you hear
my biggest thing was the creativity through the middle. That was the only little bit. Like, they don't have a ball plan. Like, all the best teams have either a starter or a bench player that can come on and create that. That's it. But
yeah, you're exactly right, because you look at, I know the likes of, we always know Victor Radley, but I suppose you look at the Bulldogs' attack this year.
Yeah.
The likes of Bailey Hayward and Kurt Mann, what they create.
They've got 4 of them.
Their variety. No, they do. Yeah. But it's right. That's where the game is right now. The variety in the middle and how you sort of, attract players to the middle. But when you feed your halves, isn't it crazy how now we're saying 13s feed our halves and when they want the ball, but it's all about it. But now, well, for me, if I'm the Sharkies right now, I flip it and go, the middle is our focal point.
Yep.
And you just all push. And I think that suits Nico Hines.
Yeah.
Nico Hines at his best when, I know he got the Dally M playing halfback, but when he was in Melbourne, playing that sort of
game.
that fullback role, just pushing up, look out. So I think they've found their little niche.
Yeah, agreed. Good shout. All right, I'm going a little bit different. So, Mase normally does the OG. I normally do the young buck. And it's going to start off with Leka Halasima from the New Zealand Warriors. Absolute freak. And he's been our young buck before. But my Scopes young buck for this week, because of Leka Halasima, is Andrew Webster, the coach for the New Zealand Warriors. Now, let me explain. I've got like I said before, I love my pressers, and we'll get to that in a bit. And everyone at the moment is proper frothing, especially back home in New Zealand, Leka Halasima. Deservedly so. He deserves the credit. Big time play. The future is bright. and this is why I'm adding Andrew Webster to the youngsters. Leka Halasima, Dimitrik, Jacob, Tane Tuapiki, Ali Lautea, Dimitrik Vaimanga, Jacob Laban. Sorry, I'll go their full names for all of them. And Ali didn't even play in this game. Ali Lautea, I think he's an out-and-out superstar on the rise. But Grubby, during my time playing, there's always been really good Polynesian players that have come out of South Auckland, come out of the New Zealand Māori system, and they just haven't had that consistency, and they haven't had the ability to play consistent footy week in, week out. They've had moments throughout a season, and they've had good teams. The Warriors have had good teams during periods like maybe 2 years and 3 years off or whatever. But I think with Webster at the helm for these young players is the reason why I think this Warriors team is different than any other Warriors team I've seen before. And I've got this little bit from a presser, and I've even got the timestamp, and I've got it ready to go. So here we go, mate. I will let you can hit play on that. We'll turn up the volume so everyone can hear it. So if you want to put it right, and just listen to this minute from Webby with Fisher Harris just nodding in approval.
Obviously, everyone's going to talk about like his try at the end there, but he had a pretty brilliant one-on-one tackle with Fletcher Hunt there in that first half.
Yep.
How big an emphasis have you kind of had on his defensive side of this game?
Yeah, well, he has himself. Like he's his toughest critic around his defence. Like he works really hard at it. He's got a long way to go with it. We all know how brilliant he can be, but I thought that was a really sort of inspirational passage of play. Our Tim Tszyu, he turned around twice off a line break and found a way to make a tackle, and then they shifted and Leka made a huge stop on his line. So yeah, like Leka's. We all celebrate the one at the end, but he's got some other brilliant stuff in him, and the more consistent he gets, because if he keeps working hard, there's going to be the effort areas which we'll be celebrating as well as that brilliance.
He's only 19, isn't he? So the sky's the limit with him, really, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think with every exciting player like that, they just got to stay grounded and not get ahead of themselves. I haven't seen those signs of him. The first thing he should be working on this week is his defence again and improving that, and if he does that, then that stuff just comes natural to him. The team needs every single player to do their job, and if Leka keeps improving at that other stuff, he'll become an absolutely brilliant player, because you'll see all that natural stuff like you saw at the end of the game.
Wow. So the reason I love that, mate, right? The reason I love that, I'm a huge fan of Webby. So all this, everyone's praising, like I said, everyone's praising him deservedly so, big play. But the first thing he wants to talk about, and it was a good question too from the journo there, focusing on defence, focusing on not letting it get to his head, because there are going to be so many people that are just going to be, doing clips about him. The New Zealand Warriors even showed some posts with, how everyone's frothing Leka at the moment. I love that he praised him, because some coaches can go the other way and just like, oh yeah, it was okay, he could have been better. Yeah. So he clearly praises him, but just goes, what's important now is the work that he puts in at training, continues to grow, doesn't let it get to his head. And that's why I think this regime with Webster, Andrew Webster, and these young players are going to get the most out of him moving forward. Like if you look back on the success the Warriors had through the years, going back to where they've had little spans, they've always had a hard-working Aussie, whether it's Kevin Campion, Michael Luck, Jacob Lillyman, those sorts of players. And people are probably going to say, yeah, they're watching this now and go, yeah, we got it, Mitchie Barnett. What if it's your coach is the hardest working Aussie that can teach these young Polynesian, New Zealand Māori kids about like work ethic and making sure that you even though you come up with a big play like that, it's the defensive play that he's highlighting that led to the opportunity.
And
you know what I mean?
And that's what they're praising.
Yeah.
And so Monday, they go into video, and Webby will probably show it.
Yeah.
But he highlights that more.
Yes.
And he highlights, I think he said Tuapiki turned in, turn out, and that's for a player. For me, I never wanted to see, the tries I set up or this or that. Not that I set up many, but no, honestly. But I wanted to be in there talking. I wanted to be the hungry dog in there.
Yeah.
That chasing down, ankle tap, put someone into touch, things like that. They're the best, and that's what you want to be known for. Can I just say one thing to add to your point, which I fully agree with? Andrew Webster being in the Penrith system with Ciraldo, that's very, very similar language about defence and making sure that's your key focal point. But I also will say the Warriors of old they've always been skillful. Throw the ball around, you go, wow, some weeks. But then some weeks you go, what the hell are they doing? I think a guy like Fisher Harris wouldn't let anyone get too far ahead of themselves and you need your leaders to be drumming the same message.
Did you see Fish nodding in approval with everything
the whole time? The whole time. And I just think him and, as you said, Barnett, Fisher Harris been in the system, won however many comps he's won. Barnett's a leader in the New South Wales pack.
Yep.
So them bringing that,
They missed him,
filtering
didn't
it
they?
down,
Yeah.
man, it's a scary thought for the rest of the NRL.
Yeah, it is. And with all the great Aussies that they've all had an expiration date because you can only play for so long, and contracts only last, so most of the time 3 to 4 years. If you're able to play 10 years, it's awesome. But most of them anywhere 2 to 5 years. If the New Zealand Warriors are smart, they should be doing everything they can to lock Webby in long term. I absolutely love him as a coach, and I was looking at that moment and I was pumped for Lecker. And then I watched the presser and I was like, that's why. Even Gus said it right on 100% footy last night. He talked about, he goes around and asks coaches and gets a feel for the vibe and all the different teams by doing the commentary. He goes, basically everyone's saying the same thing. The Warriors this year are one of the hardest teams to play because you just know they're going to be in for a full 80-minute performance.
Well, a long, maybe, I don't know how many, let's just say 5 years ago, I don't even know who the Warriors team, no offense to the Warriors, but they don't win that game in Newcastle.
No chance.
They Newcastle score, they get ahead and they go, look, boys, we tried, we travelled, it's all right, we'll go next week. But this side, they fight right till the end and come up with a win like that.
Yep.
It's a scary thought. I think they're gonna, I think they'll just scrape in the four, stay in the four, but I just think the big losses maybe towards the back end of the season in Metcalf and Barnett might eventually bite them in the backside.
Agreed. All right, we'll get to a more detailed review of that game as well. Let's go to this sort of broke last week, Grub, but then KP come out and did a post, which I guess for a lot of people at the Newcastle Knights just settled everyone down a bit.
Sigh of relief.
Yeah, big time. So Kalen Ponga has emphatically shut down rumours he'll walk away from the Knights to join rugby union and pledged to see out his contract with Newcastle. So the post on Instagram was committed to the end of 2027, excited about the vision of the club, appreciate those that support me. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, Ponga reportedly sat down for a meeting with Peter Parr, being outlined the club's ideal vision for the future. It came after the club failed to hear from Ponga for 72 hours as speculation swirled over his future. Earlier, Joey had just did a post, or actually was on Freddie and the Eighth, and he was talking.
It was Immortal Behaviour.
Was it Immortal Behaviour?
The one with Fergie it was on, where he got real sad. Is that the one you're talking about?
It might have been Freddie the Eighth, and then he doubled down on it on
With Alana.
Immortal Behaviour because Lana was talking about it after the fact. But I believe it was on Freddie and the Eighth to begin with. But either way, and he talked about if he would just hold no grudges towards Ponga if he decided to leave because of everything he's given to Newcastle, arriving after that rough run. And I was looking at it, and Grubby, I'm going to ask you a question to build out my ideal spine. I believe that, unlike most, that there is a way to make the Dylan Brown, Kalen Ponga, and potentially Fletcher Sharp spine work next year. And with everything that's been said around Kalen and about the challenges and all that sort of stuff, like he may be looking for a new challenge. How about this, mate? So I'm going to, hopefully you feel the same way with this with regards to this. In only a short amount of time, let's start with Kalen. What's Kalen's best position, in your opinion?
Fullback.
Agreed. Fletcher Sharp, what's his best position?
Oh, I have to say fullback.
Agreed. What's Dylan Brown's best position?
5'8".
Agreed. Beautiful. That works well. I thought you might ruin the clip.
End of the show.
All right. So rather than change Fletcher Sharp, who I agree in only a short amount of time looks to be a much better fullback than he does 5'8" wing, wherever else they play him, or even halfback if they consider that. Leave Fletcher Sharp at fullback. Do not change Dylan Brown from 6 to 7 because his best position is 6, and work your ass off and challenge KP to become the 7 for the Newcastle Knights. So in doing that, and this is the challenge, this is what I'd throw to him. And I know he's a guy that, he's a deep thinker and he appreciates the history of the game. I've only had a little bit to do with him. I could just get this feeling, right? Show him clips of Darren Lockyer making the change from fullback to 5'8". Different position, but same thing. Lockyer basically ran the team when he was at the Broncos, right? And challenge him to become the 7. That way you don't have to move Fletcher Sharp. You don't have to make 2 changes. So in order to keep Carlin at fullback and Fletcher Sharp and Brown to work in the halves, you've got to change Dylan Brown to half, which is not his preferred position, and then Fletcher Sharp, we both probably agree, is a better outside back. So you leave Fletcher. In this day and age, I reckon he's an energizer bunny. He'll bring the ball back strongly. He can get out the back of the shape. But Dylan and Ponga can play. I would play Kalyn on the left with a left foot kick and Brown on the right. Now, it might sound contradictory. It might be contradicting to what I said a couple of years ago because I hated the change from Kalyn to 5'8", but the circumstances changed once they signed Dylan Brown and the emergence of Fletcher Sharp compared to what was the kid from the Sharks that they got, Lockie Miller.
Yep.
I think Fletcher Sharp is a much better fullback, respectfully, than what Lockie Miller was, even though he was playing well during that period. The biggest, I guess, thing that you worried about, I did worry about during Kalyn during that period was in 2023 he played 6 games at 6, but that was over a period of 12 weeks because he was on the back end of an injury-ravaged 2022 season where he missed the back end of the season and he was going through all these HIA problems. Now, let's knock on wood. I feel like he's on the back end of that. Like he's had a really good couple of years and I haven't really seen as many knocks. The big challenge for him would be defensively, for sure. He's a kamikaze sort of defender. He shows no self-preservation. He would have to change his technique. So the big thing is defensively, he would have to put a whole lot of video into watching. I would be watching guys like Daly Cherry Evans, Adam Reynolds, all these sorts of halves that aren't the biggest halves, but they do a good job technically, and do everything in your power to try to get Joey to communicate and watch a heap of video with him and try to get him up to Newcastle.
Mate,
there's a whole lot of ifs there.
I like it.
Yeah,
and you know what the perfect example of the transition is? Jerome Hughes.
Yeah.
There's an exact example. Similar players, broken field specialist. Jerome Hughes was a great fullback, a gun.
Jeez, I love that, Grubby. Keep going.
And now he is.
I didn't even think of this.
No, he is. He's he's your perfect example. Now one of the great game managers of our game, but he also had Cooper Cronk helping him.
Yes.
He had Cameron Smith helping him.
Yes.
He had Slater helping him. But they got if Andrew Johns wants to buy into Newcastle and get back there in some vicinity, get there, but get there in a part-time / full-time role and literally just help him become a halfback. What it takes, why you do this, why you do that. The only thing I was just thinking while you were talking, and it's going to have to be a decision made by either Dylan or Ponga if this happens.
Yep.
I'm thinking Ponga, if you want him to be the halfback, he's got to do more of the kicking, right?
Yes.
So he's going to want to be on his left.
Yep.
Dylan Brown's a left side player. He's going to have to go over to the right.
Okay.
It's going to be a minor thing.
Yep.
But Dylan Brown, I think of him as wide falls on the right, big left foot. It's just what he's used to. But if it's for the betterment of the team,
I think so.
It can happen.
And it alleviates the pressure for Dylan as well.
Yeah.
I think Dylan can make it work in the halves, but I just watched him this year and the pressure that's been associated with the number and the contract and how, it's going to be a different circumstance. I think the roster that he's got at Newcastle, believe it or not, they're much improved at Parramatta, but there was so much pressure on him to be the guy. And then after the price tag, imagine after all that and Dylan getting dropped like last week, that they go, here you go, number 7 jersey, Andrew Johns for Newcastle for the next 2 or 3 years.
Mate.
It's just not, I don't think that is fair to him, even though the price tag is fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think if you sit Kalyn at 7, get him more ball dominant, let Dill be the best version of what Dill can be, and then he has to make that minor shift to the left, to the right, which he's done before too. Because, by the way, they made the shift at Parramatta about 3 years ago as well. But Dylan started off on the right and then he moved over to the left. So he's capable of it. And I just think it's the lesser of the 3 or 4 different evils that you could have with changing the positions. And I reckon Fletcher Sharp's an out-and-out fullback. So I love Fletcher Sharp at fullback. And yeah, it's a challenge. Like it looks like Kalen needs a challenge.
Well, if he wants one,
Yeah.
there's one for you. The only thing I'll say with the Ponga, the possible change is you just have to change your whole mindset as a halfback to a 5'8" even.
Yeah.
Your whole mindset. You literally are the guy that have got to get us to our kick spots. You're literally the guy that's got to make sure you know every single bit of our game plan, why we're doing things, why we're setting up the right side to come back to the left. You got to think, you know, some games it might be 8-6 off the back of your kicking.
Yep.
Callan's got a beautiful left foot.
Do you think he's got that in his bag, Grubby, with your experience? Like watching him, you think he can be that sort of role?
It'll change the way he plays.
Yeah.
It really will, because he's an eyes up,
Yeah.
short side guy constantly. But that doesn't mean that Jerome Hughes doesn't take short sides. He's one of the best in the game. But I just, over time, watching Jerome Hughes as a fullback when he was young he was just electric. You know, probably taking, you know, sometimes as a half, you got to think, no, maybe not this one.
Yeah.
Set him up, and then you know it might not ever come. But I think you just got to have a little bit more of a. You got to be calm. You got to be calm. He's got that calmness about him.
Yeah, he does.
That's why I could never do it.
That's why I like his. That's another part of it. I like his temperament. He's
Great temperament.
Pretty like even like I'm big on the way you communicate as a captain with referees. He seems to be, you know, level-headed enough where he can handle the responsibility. I think I've got more faith in him doing it than I do Dylan.
Yeah, and talk about the ability to open space for other people. That's what a halfback needs to do. That's what Nathan does the best out of anyone in the competition. Caelan's got that.
And as well, I was thinking about it too, as you said, like you threw out Joey. I think in the perfect world, that would be it. It doesn't strike me as Joey would be keen to do. He's just got so many commitments at 9, and I know this other guy who I'm about to name does, but it feels like he's more, well, he's actually done more. I would go Cooper Cronk. I would try to get Cooper up there. I reckon that would help him because he's
But
he would have been,
why would Cooper want to?
It'd have to be the pay. The pay
Got to
would
be
have
the paycheck.
Awesome. Yeah, Joey. You know, if you know, for the love of Newcastle and wanting to get the best out of Kalen. Like I seen a clip that he did on. I think it was Freddie in the Eighth again. He hasn't really worked with KP too much at all over the years, which is again like he's 2.5 hours away up the Hunter, going up the highway, and if you've got commitments and you're like, he's down here in
He would love what he's doing now, commentating.
Yeah.
But in saying that, there's got to be. Well, don't even worry about Joey, Matty as well.
Matty,
Matty's
Cooper,
one of the great
Joey.
minds of the game.
Yep, all three of those would be, you know, and even if you couldn't be hands on, right? Like if you made a change like this, just getting on a Zoom call, talking about games, talking about what he's seen, talking about watching video clips together. You can still do that in this day and age without having to make the trip up the highway anyway. So yeah, that's my I guess whoever the coach is going to be next year, I don't think it's going to be Adam O'Brien. Whoever they bring in, even that, whoever they decide to go with, that could be a huge factor in the makeup of the spine too.
Yeah, no, because everyone's going to have a different opinion on it, right? Like some people will listen to us today and be like, "You've got absolutely no idea."
Yeah. A lot of people will,
but at the same time, it's an opinion, and like I'll tell you one thing. If Kalen can get in a Jerome Hughes mindset and the style of play, look out.
Very dangerous, very dangerous. All right, let's move to the Australian team. We talked about it with our chat around the Ashes. By the way, ashesrl.com.au if you want to join us on the Ashes tour at the end of the year. The ARLC are set to announce Kevin Walters as the next Australian head coach for the 3-match Ashes series at the end of the year. According to Code Sports, the former Broncos and Maroons coach has reportedly signed a deal for just 3 games. It's unclear if Walters wants to continue in the role following the Ashes series. Grubby, you've come from radio this morning. You're hearing that it's quite a strange deal, isn't it? Like with Kevy, but maybe he has ambitions to also still coach NRL. So
it's the only thing I can think of, Hots, because surely, like, you got to give him more because the World Cup's coming up soon.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
So it's not. It's either Kev. I think, and I got no idea, but I'm just saying from what I heard, it's either Kev has aspirations to be a coach, and the 3 games, you know, might just give him enough to get the job, and then he assesses from there, depending on how well he goes. Or it's them going, we're going to give you these 3 games to prove yourself. I just don't.
With the World Cup in mind, it's a great point. like if I'm the Australian Rugby League, I'm like, I'm not hiring a coach that only wants to do 3 games.
No
I want
way.
to, you know, like I think this World Cup is going to be the most highly contested World Cup we've ever had for rugby
Easy,
league,
especially
like,
if the boys that have been talking about.
Yeah, like I don't even have it in the notes here, but apparently Shamus reported yesterday that Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow is about to make a huge decision to go to Samoa. Samoa and Tonga are so much better than they have been, and so much more complete of a side. And there are, if Tino and Payne and Hamo go to Samoa, and the emergence of Isaiah Katawa, who knows what Robert Toy is going to do from the Sydney Roosters, who was did a really good job for the Queensland Maroons. Like, there are so many what ifs, and because of those what ifs, you need to get someone who's going to be available for both campaigns to find out what these representative players for State of Origin are going to do with their countries of heritage.
Can we just think about right now? You just mentioned 3 names, just the 2 of them. Haas and Tino right now are the Aussie front rowers. Imagine they go to Samoa.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. It brings Australia right back. Right back to the field.
Yeah.
Because them as your starting props, I don't care who your halves are, you're going to be on the front foot a lot of the time.
Yep.
And if Jerome Luai is the 5'8" or halfback, and whoever he teams up with,
Critters in the centres. I think they've had. I sent a predicted lineup. I think it was Shamus had it. So Jerome at 7, either Blaze Talangi or Chanel Harris DeVita at 6.
Yeah, yep.
Stephen Crichton in the centres, Bizzard on the wing. Obviously, we talked about Hammer if he ends up playing some part.
Unbelievable.
And then you go to the forward pack, Sean Balls of the world, and mate, they're stacked in the forward pack. You can name Josh Papali'i.
Yeah, but then you got Nelson.
You
got Utoi Kamanu.
Nelson still at this stage is the Kiwis. Like he's always been his legend.
Yeah.
But like this is a thing. This is what always stuffs for the Kiwis. If they decide to, like Adam Fanua-Blake, right? He played a couple of games for the Kiwis and then he went to Tonga. Once you make that decision, I don't think you can come back to New Zealand, which is disappointing for us because we don't get the opportunity to have guys like Hamiso, right? Hamiso started for Samoa, then last couple of years played for Australia, and now he's deciding that he may go back to Samoa. We don't get that because for the Kiwis, they don't have the opportunity to play Origin and then go back to their country of heritage.
Yeah.
So.
Mate, it's an interesting one. So, and there was also reports that Kev was meant to sign yesterday. It was meant to come out, but it hasn't.
It's not confirmed?
Which makes me think,
Yep.
Is it Kev's management pushing back, saying, no, we want more. Okay. We want more. Like, we want the World Cup as well. We don't want just these 3 games. It's going to be interesting when it comes out to see which party has, and made the decision and how, I suppose, the negotiations went. And, also hearing reports that Cam Smith said some things, he would have liked the opportunity to push his case.
You believe that Cam Smith wasn't given an opportunity to coach? Or
so from what I heard, from what I heard, it was just a decision. They just made a decision. No one, nor Kev, nor Cam, no one got to push their case forward and say why they wanted to be a coach and their plans. I'm pretty sure that's the reports.
That's so strange.
Which is interesting. Yeah. So
who's the ARL? Is that the NRL these days?
No. They've still got their own board.
They got their own board. Yeah. Actually, not sure who's on the board.
Yeah, we'll look it up, eh?
Yeah.
RL, this is a podcast. We can take our time. So the Australian Rugby League Commission. No, that's part of the RL.
Yeah, but
anyway, it's a strange process if they haven't interviewed. It's even weirder if they haven't interviewed Kevy about what their expectations are, and because he's still, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and hoping that an NRL job becomes available.
Yeah, it's gonna be when it comes out. I think it'll come out today.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
If you say a name, I reckon I'll.
Well, it's Peter. Obviously, is the chair. They reckon Wayne Pearce, Tony McGrath.
So that's the RLC board for the NRL. So they make decisions for the NRL. They're the board that Peter V'landys goes back and forth with. But yeah, there's a different entity for the Australian Rugby League team.
Yep.
Anyway. All right, so we'll see what happens anyway. It's not confirmed, but I think that's strange that Cam Smith would have been my pick for it. I just think he makes so much sense. He's one of those.
Even with no coaching behind him,
that's fine. I think for that level, as
okay.
long as you got someone who has got the runs on the board like Cam, not so far recently removed from which I think is really important for this generation group. I reckon and this is the thing. Like, remember when we did the tab thing, the tab bunker, and we're talking about Laurie. I think with this generation in particular, like the social media era, there's so many other distractions and sports and that in their lives. I don't think they're as familiar with coaches of the 90s and stuff like we were.
No.
And that's where I think, like it's a disadvantage to Kevy. It's a disadvantage to... Kevy's probably a little bit different because he's been coaching NRL level. But Laurie, Freddie, like all these sorts of coaches, whereas like all the kids playing now grew up watching the dynasty era of Queensland, Melbourne Storm, no Cameron Smith, no Billy Slater, no Jonathan Thurston, all those sorts of guys.
The only thing I'll say is I've heard, and I'm 90% confident it was Wayne Bennett said to Matty Johns before he was going to get into coaching. He said on one of his podcasts that coach somewhere first, anywhere. Could be your local team, could be anything, but it's just the interaction with players. And I know Cam Smith's done a bit of origin stuff and that, but it's so different when it's your team. You got to make all the big calls. You can't drop people. You get your assistant coach to do this and that. So that's the only thing I would say about Kevy. And I love Kev. I've had a lot to do with him. He's got the runs. He's got the runs on the board with the coaching side of things, plus a player. And Cam Smith, maybe if he wanted to do that, just to do a little bit of coaching first.
I don't hate the Kevy signing. I hate the Kevy 3-game signing.
That's
if
weird.
Kevy commits to it for the 3 games and then the World Cup, 2 years, that's plenty.
Yep.
I think that works
Good
for
opportunity.
Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my only sort of pushback with that. All right, mate, let's get to reviewing the games from the weekend. We'll start off with the Dolphins 43 defeating the Cowboys 24. Last week when we were reviewing the Dolphins game, I talked about the strategy and the techniques that the Sharks used to shut down Katawa. And I was really intrigued to see what Isaiah Katawa was going to throw up in this game. With less than 2 minutes, he goes to the left-hand side, goes to play at the back. They wedge on him like the Cronulla Sharks were doing the week before. 2 plays later, mate, that's when he throws a nice little beautiful outball to Oren Keeley, who scores the first try of the game. He is so much more advanced than any half I've seen at this age. Your thoughts on Isaiah Katawa?
And the crazy thing is that's why there's an article in the Telegraph the next day. Cronulla found a way to get the blueprint to shut down Katawa.
Yeah.
And a lot of young guys, I feel, if there's a big article in the paper like that, would shit themselves and go, oh shit, they found it. They found it. Not Katawa. He goes back, not even sure who he talks to about this stuff. I reckon he does it himself and watches his own game and just says, well, if they come again like this, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And if they come again, that's what I'm doing. And that is just so far ahead of where all young other halves would probably go back into their shell a little bit and be like, look, I'm going to play a bit pre-line now. I've got to just get back into my groove. He went the total opposite. And this guy, man, he's a
good point about the coaching grub. I wonder who he chats to.
Yeah, that's
because normally when a player starts to play well, you see someone come out of the woodworks and start claiming, "Oh yeah, I've been doing some work."
Yeah, who's their assistant? Who's Dolphins' assistants? Because it's not. It's definitely. I don't think Christian Wolf would be. I don't know.
Well, Wolfie's been with him for 4 years, so he debuted him in the World Cup 2023 for Tonga. So he's got to get a lot of credit for sure.
Yeah,
love the temperament of Wolfie. Ex-teammate of mine in the 20s, Rory Costigan.
Oh yeah,
he's been at Newcastle for a couple of years. But he's a Melbourne Storm system.
Yep.
So he knows his footy well. Anyone else?
Nathan Feen.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, Feeney.
Yeah, he's got some blokes around him.
A guy, Rory Costigan. Is that what you just said?
That's the one I said before.
He's. I just think. I'll tell you one thing I will say though. On the other side, the Cowboys' defensive system, whatever it is, it's not working.
Agreed.
They were. A couple of the centers were ahead, half was back, vice versa. There's no structure in place to be like, when this happens, we're doing this. It seems like they're all pulling on different strings, and if there's a guy that's going to pick you apart when you give him cues like that, it's going to be Katawa.
100%. This is the note I've got for the defense. We'll keep rolling with it. So the hardest point for them to identify, it's my main note for the Cowboys, is that they've changed the personnel so much this year with Purdue playing halves, Jake Clifford at times, young Tom Duffy at the start of the season. Tom Dearden's gone from edge to edge. And you think about some of the experience that they've lost in the last couple, and there might not be, like guys like Kyle Felt, Peter Hiku, Chad Townsend, they're not going to blow people away, but they're experienced vets on the edge. Even Val Holmes down at the Dragons. Now they've got these youngsters like Purdue, Labert, a couple of vets sprinkled in, but they're sort of journeymen. Braden Burns, Jackson Peru. They don't play a whole lot of footy week in, week out. So we're both edge players. How, like, you just know sometimes there's no communication needed when you have full faith in Josh Jackson. I think was he your guy back in the day, Grubby? You just know where he's going to be. You don't have to say anything because you got the reps.
Exactly, it's reps, and that's what it is. And on you and our right edge, I was going to always lead the line speed a lot. I couldn't go too far because, that was my thing. Get up and just, I want to get myself in a good position to make tackle. But then there was stages where I went too far, which created a little triangle.
Yep.
But then when we got it right, Jacko was on my inside, centre was in a layer just ahead, and we solved everything.
Yep.
But it seems like, and you make a really good point, guys like, Val Holmes when he's on an edge, guys like... who'd you say before?
Oh, Kyle
Felt.
Yep.
They're gonna chip these young guys when they do something wrong.
Yep.
Toddy Payton would be chipping them, going, "I told you this week in, week out." But sometimes I feel with young guys on the run, under fatigue, under duress, they don't make the decisions. But on the run, Val Holmes or someone might say, "Man, we've done this all week. Let's get it right." So you do it on the run, whereas it seemed like, Katoa would do something and the centre would get scared and then the next time he'd change it. But then Katoa was just too smart.
Yeah, because then they're trying to do, there might have been a message coming out. If he does this, make sure you do this. Then Katoa gives them the same look but a variation and they're like, you told me to do this. How many times have you heard edges arguing with each other? Like, you said to fucking do this if you see this look. And then he did something else and then you're like, yeah, but... And you have video sessions like that. Again, mate, Petahiku, I played with Pet. He had a really good NRL career. He's a really solid defender. So
and still going strong over there now.
Yeah.
Killing it for HKR.
Back to the Dolphins. I want to go back to the Dolphins for next year, Grub. So for the lineup that has been doing so well over the last month, and this is why I give zero excuses to any other team in the competition that's attempting to use it around injuries. Next year, their best lineup has to fit in Selwyn Cobbo, who's there on a one-year deal.
Yep.
Jack Bostock will be back from his ACL injury. Cody Nikorima is probably going to be back at the start of the finals after that really bad hamstring injury that he had a couple of weeks ago. Tom Flegler, Tom Gilbert, Daniel Saifidi, Max Plath, Felice Kafusi, and in this game, and he only missed the one game, Finay Fuiaki.
Yep.
They are so talented, mate.
That's a top 4 side. I'm going to throw it out there.
Yeah, I agree.
With the way Katoa's going at the moment, and don't worry, not worry just about Katoa. Nikorima is his perfect Robin.
Yeah, I agree.
They understand each other. They understand the game. They are genuine halves. And this is why I think, because they understand some halves, and me included, the early parts of my career, I just used to try and beat people with my speed, not try and sit anyone in their chair and talk about this stuff, why I'm getting him, why I'm getting to that. These guys do it. They know why. Nikorima knows that there's a play where Katoa hits that out ball where he's got to be on that outside for the pop.
Yep.
He knows where he's got to show to get the certain type of looks for centres. It's quite a scary combination, which is interesting because there's these talks about Nikorima
not getting re-signed.
And I'm just like, if that is one of the first guys I'm re-signing with that combination.
That might go against Cody because they looked really bad and it was good for Cody Nikorima in the Sharks game because Sean O'Sullivan went there, but he's more of a... I think he's the guy he fills in for Katoa if he's not there to kick to the corners. He's not going to do Isaiah Katoa stuff, but he didn't compliment Isaiah.
No.
They moved Avarillo to 6 and he was more of the ball runner and he created a threat outside, which I think helped Isaiah in this game as well. So, mate, they've got some good players like Keeley, Donahue, like all these players. Frankie Molo's been unreal for him up there. He's been their enforcer.
Where does Cobbo play?
He's not a lock, mate.
Well,
he is not a lock. So Hammer fullback, Asako, Hammer and Asako are locks for me.
Yep.
Herby's a lock. Avarillo is playing maybe his career best year, but I still don't think a lock. I think Cobbo will get an opportunity to compete with him and maybe only him. And maybe they go the change Avarillo to 6 if they're not going to keep Nikorima.
Oh, man. That's a big call because Jakey Avarillo has been their guy this year.
Yeah.
Played everywhere. Yeah. And everywhere he's played really good.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cobbo doesn't make it then. I'm happy. This seemed to have a good thing and you make Cobbo, just like he is now, like he's working hard trying to get back into the Broncos lineup.
Yep. But mate, so many things happen.
Yes.
Injuries and backup for depth for positions is perfect anyway.
What about Herby? So there's all the chat after the game about his form recently, and he's been outside of Isaiah Katawa. I reckon Isaiah Katawa, Kurt Donahue, and Herby have been their most consistent this year. There are reports that they're looking for an extension. The chat is he could be in the $1 million centre. Would you pay that much money for a centre? And the comparisons were on Thursday night with Matty and Fletch and all that. Herby or Critter? Who would you go?
I'm taking Critter. Just me personally, because defensively, what Critter does for a whole team, talking about edges, and I've seen what he does firsthand at training. I've seen firsthand what he does on the run in games.
Yep.
Defense wins your comps, and you need guys in there like that. But then don't worry about Critter.
Gun defender as well.
But he's not Critter. Critter turns situations, losses into wins somehow.
Yeah.
He's the connection he has with his wingers and inside. There's multiple times in Origin where he saved us just because he doesn't come out and shoot out of the line, give them the cues they want. He holds back. He's just so smart. But Herby Farnworth in attack, wow. But I'm going to say it there. I don't think this side. I wouldn't pay $1 million for Herby Farnworth in this team.
Yeah.
The Tigers, pay him $1 million. Someone like that, pay him $1 million.
Here's where I think it can work, Rob, because they've done a really good job of securing their best. They've got a $1.2 million player on $650,000. That's Isaiah Katawa. So they're in a window now during that 2 years with Isaiah Katawa on that money. You can afford to pay a guy like Herby a little bit more than probably market value for your team, and he can get close to $1 million, and then he's clearly like super consistent, 20 carries a game, not the defender of Critter, but not awful as well. He's a solid defender. And like I said, maybe you upgrade him for a couple of years and then you let him go after that, but you try to maximise as much as you can whilst you've got Isaiah Katawa on 650.
I'm not shutting it down, but to have $1 million in your centre is a big call. There's not many that you'd say it about. I'd say it about two, him and Critter.
Yeah.
That's the rest, nowhere near it.
Nowhere near.
Because the centres, the way the game is at the moment, the wingers are your front rowers, and they're the one doing all your hard work. But I will say, Herby changes games.
Yeah.
And, Critter can do that too. Because look, Critter close enough won the game for us on the weekend. That break.
Yeah.
And
he's had
always
so many huge clutch moments in big games too that you have to factor in.
Canberra.
Yep.
We were down by 30 or whatever. Would he come up with that?
I'm more talking about Penrith in the grand finals. Like he's had big moments for the Bulldogs, but the resume speaks for itself. So I am Critter. And I seen him debating it on the couch on Thursday. I was like, fuck, that's a good one. I'd probably go Critter too. Let us know. There's a lot of Doggies fans that watch us, obviously, because of Mase and yourself, Grub. So just a quick shift. Another one, I'm making another change, similar to KP. I think Jackson Peru is not a 6, similar to Fletcher Sharp. In the preseason, I don't even know if Todd Payton's got to the preseason. I'd make the shift. I'd go Drinky to 6 as well, similar to KP.
For sure.
And move Purdue back to fullback and let him be the Energizer Bunny at the back.
I think Drinkwater is the closest fullback to a 5'8" of anyone in the comp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the way he injects himself is pretty much touches the ball the same as a 5'8".
Yeah.
I don't think he's scared to be the front guy going into the line.
No.
He doesn't care. But then also good when, if Tommy didn't open up space for him, if he's the 6, fair call, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Purdue, it seems like he's trying to do the same stuff, that elusive sort of fullback role, but it's not. It's not the same.
Trying to think about creating and just take out the creation part.
Agreed, man. Whereas it comes natural to Drinky.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
It does.
The creating.
I think he wants to create first.
Yeah.
And then that's what sets him up for his run, which is a great attribute to have for a fullback.
Yep.
But and I just wrote a couple more notes about the back rows. A couple of years ago, they had Jeremiah and Hylam Lukey, Luciano Leilua, Fine Fuiaki, and they even had Tommy Gilbert, who was like a middle sort of hybrid back row. Now they've got Ruben Cotter playing out the edge because he did such a good job. So they're going through a rough period at the moment.
But Ruben Cotter was bullshit in game 3. And I was one of the ones that was saying, why would you put him in the back row? But he does a job for you, but I like him better at lock.
Cowboys, he's got to be a lock.
Yep.
Sharks 32 defeat the Roosters 18. Grubby, we talked about this. If you are just tuning in for the Sharks take, we had my first point was around Brayley. Grubby made him his OG Bull of the week and talked about the month. So if you want to see more on Brayley, go back and watch that clip. But yeah, one of the parts that we sort of talked about with Brayley that I think is important is Nico's getting his running game back.
Yep.
Got a couple of tries last week. For all the pretty stuff he can do, Nico's 6'2", 6'3", 95 kilos. He's a problem when he wants to run. And he's got fullback pace.
Yep.
And that's what he's getting back to, I reckon, in the last 2 or 3 weeks off the back of Brayley.
And I like the try after he scored the try after the weekend. He said, right, what you want. I love it. And that's good on him because he's copped it, mate. He has copped it, absolutely copped it. And at the same time, he knows he's not where he probably needs to be at because from where he's come from.
The origin period in particular would have been super frustrating.
Absolutely, for both of them. But I've said it for a while, Oz. I think Braden Trindle, those two guys, I don't know what it is, but there's like this sort of, I sort of want to be the 7. You sort of want to be the 7. They go in and out.
Yeah.
I think Braden Trindle's their 7.
Okay.
That's just me personally.
Yeah.
And people say put the 7 on his back. I don't care about that. You just tell him that he's the 7,
Yep.
and then Nico and Kennedy swing.
Okay.
And this is when the Sharkies, of the not last year, but a few years ago, that's when they were at their best. When Trindle's going down a short side, then Hines pops up.
You know who it was, mate? This is where I 100% agree with you. Moylan was playing 7 on ball and allowing Nico, even though he had the 7, Moylan was wearing 6, and then Nico was sweeping both sides. So
they just got to get back to that. But let's be straight. Where it is right now, their focal point is Brayley, and using Aden, using Oregon as just battering ramps.
Toby Rudolph's been good for him off the bench since he's been back.
What about a few of his plays? Like not this week, the one before one. That's
might have saved their season, mate.
And that's where the Sharkies need to get back to damaging back rowers. Nickera and Wilton that just hit holes constantly, good ones too. But I'm telling you right now, if I'm Fitzy, I'm having conversations week in, week out, about your coach saying things, from an attacking mindset. I'm just telling Brayley, you just keep going, and Nico, you just jump on board. Yep. Trindle, you set up our set pieces and whatever.
Finish with a kick.
That's the way we got to play. Kennedy's not a 3-on-2 out the backer.
No.
So why don't
he's a quick tip.
Flood the middle.
Yeah.
Constantly flood the middle. So.
Did you see the presser from Cam McInnes at the end of the game? He's just always battered. When I watch Cam McInnes, I'm like, there's definitely a role for Cam. I've always been like, he's sort of like in between. He started off as a hooker. He's a lock. He might be a bit undersized. He doesn't offer much with shape. But fuck, he's just you could just tell he's the sort of player you'd love to play with.
He just cleans up a lot of stuff, mate. He's sort of, and this is the thing, guys that play with Cam would be like, we wouldn't want him for anyone else.
Yeah, and they froth him.
They froth him. You can tell. But Cam would be the one on Mondays constantly. Like someone missing an inside shoulder, clean up. But we don't see that as fans. Not a lot of fans see that type of stuff. But there's definitely a role for him in there, especially now. Because mate, the thing with him is too, he can get in. He's one of the best at getting in the ditch. So now he doesn't need to be that creator anymore.
Nah,
we got Blake Brayley doing that.
Yeah.
So you can just be another
straight up and
one
down,
of your
quick
props.
play the ball.
Bang.
Yep. Roosters, they missed a jump in this one. Guilt, in my opinion, I was calling this game as well. They were sideways, east-west. They needed to be more north-south. And it's a reflection of Samuel Walker when he's back in the team. You live and die by Samuel Walker,
you do.
This Roosters team.
Yeah.
And I reckon they've played so much more direct before Sammy returned because that's not Sammy's typical game, especially if you get caught. Like if you miss the jump, then Sammy's going to want to chase points. But you've got to find a balance.
What's going on with Sandon Smith? Was he available this game?
Yes. Chad.
So you're going Chad and...
going into previewing the game, this is just my I think they wanted a game manager with Sammy because that's what Hugo Savala was doing for Sandon Smith and for Sam Walker. I think it's only a 1 week thing and Hugo's back this week. So maybe rather than I'm with you. I probably would have gone. I understood why they went why I thought they went with Chad, but I probably would have given Sandon Smith a crack. For me, I think it's a representation of where Sandon Smith may be out of the club.
Yep, it is. Well, Savala's got the nod over him.
Yes,
and this was the question.
Yes,
is it Smith with Walker, Savala with Walker?
I think it's Walker.
Writings on the wall. But at the same time, I also think this year if you want it, you're pushing for the 8. You put your best combinations out there.
Yeah.
And look, this is no offense to Chad. I'm saying the combination of Chad and Sam. Put Sam there as your 7, because that's why, he's got the 7 on his back, even though Savala is probably more the 7 when he plays. But I don't know, just that game. I just feel, I don't know, if you really want.
Here's my biggest frustration watching players, coaches, teams. This week it's the Roosters, but I've seen it a couple of times now. When they played the Sharks at Gosford and they got that really big win against the Sharks, like the upset win, Hugo Savala put 2 on the dime, on the money to Daniel Tupou, right? And he goes down, he scores. They go on a run. They end up dominating. They just blasted and caught Sharks off guard. 12 minutes into the game, Sam Walker puts one up, exact same position. This time it's not Moani Hiroti. It is Sione Katoa.
Yep.
Toops, 1 from 1, goes up, plucks it out of the air, puts it down. He's one of the best in the game to ever do it.
Yep.
The Roosters never went back to it, mate. And I said it at the time, why do teams get bored, on this occasion it's the Roosters, with something that works? Just because you've seen it work and teams are going to make adjustment, let's see if they make the adjustment. They didn't go back to Toops again, mate. And that's it's one of my pet peeves with teams, clubs, playmakers, whatever it may be.
That was one of I remember the commentary in that game. That was one of whoever it was, I can't remember, said, love Savala going back there.
Yeah.
And that's, you're right. You get bored of it. Why? It's like the right edge goes, oi, don't forget about us.
Yeah.
But like it's such a good call, because if that starts you the game, trying to go up against Toops, it doesn't matter. Because then now the escort, if the centres are escorting one bit penalty,
they're going to be panicking for sure.
So it's a really good call.
Do you know when they went back? Because they did go back. Do you know when they went back to Toops? When they were down by 2 tries, they go a short kick off to try to get the ball back. What do you reckon happens? Toops comes down with it.
You wouldn't believe it. Where does that leave the Chooks, mate? Is that are you done with them for the 8?
No.
Nah, they're still there.
I still think the top 10 can make it. The Roosters are my line. Dragons, Tigers below. I still think the top 8 is going to be made up of the top 10.
Okay.
You?
I think that was a big game for both those clubs.
Yep.
I think whoever won that one might have snuck in. I just think watching Manly on the weekend, I'm keen for this dog Manly game. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Manly found a bit of the groove. And I think Sharkies are the same. Okay. So I'm thinking this could be the 8.
Yeah,
where it is right now.
Okay,
that's just
Dolphins brave, but just too many troops out. Can't sustain it.
Yeah. There'll be 1 or 2 losses where they put up a fight, but there's just going to be a bit too much class for them because of the numbers out.
Probably need to look at the schedule a little bit deeper to see who's got the softer draw and the buys and all that. But I wouldn't be surprised if that happens too, Grubby. Panthers 30 defeating the Rabbitohs 10. Grub, the schedule for the Panthers. Now, I went the earliest of crows and said the Panthers weren't going to make the 8 after about 5 or 6 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. And I was looking pretty good there. At the start of the period, they're missing, dropped a few games around Origin 1 and stuff. Then they were brave. The 2 huge wins were the Warriors win over in New Zealand after game 2, and then they were able to back that up and get your dogs the following week. The schedule now for the Panthers is Tigers, Titans, Knights. That's win, win, win.
Yep.
Followed by probably the hardest 3-game stretch, Storm, Raiders, Dogs.
Yep.
And then they'll finish on the Dragons.
Wow.
Can they make the top 4? And if they don't make the top 4, can they still win the comp? Can they be the first team to do it?
So I'm not going to say I did say, but I thought I didn't think they were going to win the Warriors game. But once they won that game and all those players were coming back, I literally said after the Dogs, I think they'll win 6 straight.
Yeah, well.
And I'm still sticking with it. But then you go 3 games in a row that you just mentioned that are going to see where they're at.
What do you reckon they come out of the Storm, Raiders and Dogs with? How many wins?
Where are they at?
Especially if they've won 6 in a row by then too. Great.
So this is what I feel, Hodge, right now. No, this is what I feel. I just don't know if depending. And hearing Isaiah talk about yesterday, he goes, "This is a totally different feeling for us." He goes, "It's sort of like we're chasing." He goes, "We've never really had to chase." I know, but at the same time, it's like, do they have to get up week in, week out now from where they've been? Because they'll last at one stage. It is every week just too much. And then you go 3 big games, Dogs, Storm, Raiders, and then you got to play semis. Is it just going to be too much for this team? Or is this going to be one of the best dynasties we've ever seen?
It already is. So they're just going to add to it.
Add to that.
Yeah.
So I've never rid them off. I'm the opposite to you. I was always scared. And this is exactly what I was scared of. This little period and that 8-6 game against the Dogs show that they can still go toe-to-toe without scoring points. 2 defensive systems against each other.
That was 100% a finals game, that game.
Big game, man.
Can I throw a little hoops and hips just
there.
to bring it back? Didn't the Chiefs stumble a little bit halfway through last season in the NFL and they sort of scraped through?
No, the Chiefs were different in the sense where they still got the 1 seed, but they had 10 under 7-point wins. So
That's
in years
right.
previous, they were blowing teams out and they were so much more dominant.
Yeah.
But they were winning overtime, missed kicks for a field goal.
Correct.
Against teams. Shit like that was happening for them. So nowhere near as dominant, but still got to the Super Bowl.
That's sort of the mindset that I was thinking of there.
So they go. Panthers play Raiders in Mudgee. Well, that's a Penrith home game. Then they come to a core to play the Dogs, and they play Melbourne at home. So. Yeah, if they were 3 away games, I'd be like, wow. But, mate, Melbourne at home.
Dragons at home. Like, they could get in a
and
position.
then, they play Dragons at the end.
Dragons to finish. They could get, just say if they don't get there right in the top 4, but then they're locked into 5th or 6th position, which gives them a home semi. Ivan could still just rest all his players for a week going into the finals and going, boys, Reggie's go do your best for us this week. We got 4 games to rewrite history.
It's scary.
So dangerous.
Scary thought. But then the only thing as well that just quickly, Nathan's injuries, Toto's injuries, are they a little bit weary?
Well, that's the reason I said it, Grub, because I expected it was going to have more of an impact on them this year. They continue to lose Fish, Jerome, and even Taruva, who's been a really good contributor to them. I anticipated that they weren't going to have their place for Origin after Origin. That happened. Like, I correctly predicted they weren't going to play. They fucking still won against the Warriors.
Yeah, I know.
Then the last 2 weeks, last 2 weeks, they rested. Granted, they got lucky going up against a more banged up Rabbitohs team on this occasion, but no Yowie, nice and early, no Cleary, not late minutes, not last minute scratchings, planned. So Dylan Toto get the spell the week before, mate. They are unbelievable.
Can I say I had a quick chat to Ivan Cleary at the airport, Magic Round.
Yep.
And they had a good win against the Broncos.
Yes.
At Magic Round. And I was saying how he's going, and he says very different. But he did say he thinks there's a lot of pressure on the young guys. So Tommy Jenkins, Casey McLean, Talangi to fit straight in and be great.
I love it.
People don't understand that. They're only young guys. No matter what team you come into, yes, it's easier in an elite team, but it's still hard week in, week out, the grind.
The part I'll disagree with you on this, it's harder for them. Expectations.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And if you speak about language, and so Scotty Sorensen came out, and last night I was watching the news. He was saying that he reckons, without saying it, I think he said a few of the young boys might have been getting it carried away a bit early. They're in this Penrith system. It's just going to happen. But now something's clicked. They're working harder. They know that the wins aren't just going to come. So maybe it's been a bit of a, I'm not going to say culture shift because they got one of the best cultures in the game. But for these young guys coming in thinking it's just going to happen.
Yeah, reality check for them at the start of the year. My last note for the Panthers were that the left edge is the most improved in the comp from any position group, whether it be middles, right edge, left. We sort of carry on, and I love him particularly. I love Milky Jenkins. I love Tom. I reckon he is an absolute. At the start, I was like, well, he's just a goer, and he just competes. But he's got some nice touches. Now you can see that there's a real player. There's a build. There's a Stephen Crichton build in Casey McLean, and what Blaze Talangi's put together in the last 6 weeks. They're the difference. They're humming now. So they were a real weakness at the start of the year defensively. And they weren't offering anything offensively because they're making so many errors. Now they're not making any errors, and they're stripping and fucking scoring a whole heap of points.
You know,
Milky Jenkins, stiff arm, Tyron Munro on the weekend, down the short side, back on the inside of Casey McLean. I'm like, ooh.
You know what matchup I'm excited for in a few weeks again? Dogs Penrith, Casey McLean versus Critter again. Remember they were going?
That was awesome.
That was young buck, old dog, just saying, let's go.
That was awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah, I love that. South, mate. What's going on with South and the injuries at the moment?
That's the one team I'll give. You can literally blame injuries.
Look
now.
at this. No, you honestly want me to go through the list?
I don't think many people can, but they can.
So, and Wayne, and even Wayne very rarely looks for excuses, but check this list out. Bentley Harper, he's just a young player, but played a couple of games for him. Groin, round 22. Cheese, knee, round 23. Latrell, look at the names. Latrell, quad, round 24. Ravalawa, round 26. Peck. Campbell Graham, he just can't get healthy. TBC. Keon Kalamatangi just went down. Cam Murray, Achilles, started the year. Jaden Sullivan filled in nicely for him when Cody Walker was missing time. By the way, he's out again. And Davey Mawala, next season, wrist.
Yeah, that is honestly ridiculous. You cannot do much with that. I don't care what anyone says. You can't blame injuries. That is the ones.
Is there something that they're doing? Because it feels like they've been like this for a couple of years. I know I've tossed up. It's been since they've like it might just be coincidence. It's just the worst luck of all time, and a few of those players, in particular, Cody Walker's getting old. So Father Time's undefeated, and that could factor in with Cody. But Latrell, Cam Murray doesn't make sense because, you look at those two guys, they're hitting their prime now. They shouldn't be having these soft tissue injuries like they're having. Is Heffron Park potentially like S&C's training load? They've got to look at something. They've got to have a full review of it in the off-season and figure out what's going on, because the Cheese ones does like Cheese from Roosters and then getting injured in a game, that's an outlaw. That's just going to happen. That's a footy injury. Keon Kalamatangi, wrist during a game, that or whatever it was, ankle, that's a game injury. Cam Murray, Latrell consistently getting injured at training, and I think Campbell Graham having those are something you're doing at training is not right.
Or is it the soft tissue ninja that constantly gets older players at the back end?
Campbell Graham's 24, mate.
But he was his he was his sternum at the start.
But now
what's he out for now?
Now it's back, like back spasms.
Yeah. I just know maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just the return to. Are they coming back too early? I know. I'm gonna ride the Cody Walker one off because I know.
Agreed. I'm with that.
Yeah. When I was at that bit older, my calf would go, which would make the other side of my hip go. That's just how it goes. But there has. But would Wayne be a guy that's going to do that, mate? Is Wayne a guy that's going to do a whole investigation into what's going on?
It would be his team for sure. Like from what I've heard with the people that have been with Wayne, he delegates really well. He's got the best people around him. So it might be the likes of Ben Hornby and his assistant coaches and going and looking at with the S&C team. Like, because the one thing, and I've said this before a number of times, the best physio that I ever had and the hardest worker in the club at my time at Parramatta was Vicky Locke. She's their physio there. So she's her roster.
She'd be doing overtime.
Mate, her roster is the best. She could put a team together in her roster as a physio team that would beat the fucking Gold Coast Titans right now. And the Tigers. Like, it's such a good team that's sitting on the sideline. I feel bad for Jackie White.
Oh, man.
Mate,
he's copping it at the moment.
He's copping it, and all the Raiders stuff, that doesn't help. But,
but it's
he gives his absolute all. I don't really know Jackie at all, but I've watched him from far. I feel like, again, he's always a player that I'm just like, man, I'd love to play with him. He's not always the cleanest, especially when he has to play in that playmaker and senior role. Like, he probably requires more veterans around him. But yeah, I thought, I just feel for him watching him at the moment, especially because the Raiders are doing so well.
Tough to watch. Yeah, because he loved the Raiders too.
He didn't want to leave, mate.
It was a big decision for him to go, but. These things happen, man.
Yeah.
And then he's not the first. He won't be the last.
No, he's not.
Yeah, so.
He's not. All right, let's get to the Raiders versus the Eels. Jackie Whiten's what's your Raiders are my team to beat. There we go. I'll start with that.
For the season?
Yep.
To win it.
Thoughts, and I want to make it clear too. There's two changes that I think that they're gonna need.
Yep.
Obviously health. Like you've got to. I can't. I don't have a crystal ball to say, what players are going to be missing at the back end. I think Ricky's son, Jed Stewart, is doing a fine job. They need Savelio Tamale back.
Yep.
I believe, in finals games, yardage carries. I don't think Jed has that nowhere near that level of yardage carries off tackle breaks that Tamale has. So I need Tamale back, who's he's supposed to be back around 26. And they need to figure out their second wave issues. Off the bench.
Yeah.
And I'd move Big Papa back to the bench, promote either, push Horsburgh up front and either go Morgan Smithies or Zach Hoskin at lock, and because they're starting well. The first, break it down to 4 quarters. Their first 20 is awesome. Quarter 2 and 3 are awful at the moment, the last 4 weeks. and then they're finishing strong. So they need to figure out that middle wave. And I think when they take Tarps and Pups off at the same time, they're good young ascending players in Mariota and that, but they need to have a veteran out on the field with all these young players.
Two things I'll...
Quick pause before we go too far off the Rabbitohs. South's just re-signed Alex Johnson.
Oh, nice.
So he will hit the record there.
Yep, yeah. So he will break the record at South.
Love
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah. Two things that scare me for your title contenders. Their centres read in defence sometimes. They can get... Timoko gets done.
Yep.
Chris gets done. And I'm just saying this because I watched the Dogs games closely.
Yep.
That game when the Dogs come back, Timoko was in all sorts.
They've had a number of games like that.
And I just think in a big game,
that's fair.
The pressure's on.
That's fair.
One read can turn into another read, another read, and I just think this young Raiders side, they got big pups, they got Tarpany, but they're in the middle. You need someone on the edges to pull them in, like we were talking about before, and say, boys, we need to stop the rot right now.
Do you think they're a year away then?
Yeah, I definitely. Mate, and I was talking about it this morning. Their spine, KO Weeks 23, Strange 20, Sanders 21, and Owen Paddy.
Gun.
Man, for years to come, you better look out. Yeah. But for right now, and the one other thing that I don't think they do well is their try line attack. They don't really ask you many questions. They're sort of just throwing it out, dropping under, trying to beat you with
What's
feet.
their shape?
It's literally Tarpany. It's a big pups. One of the two. Can you boys score? First try, last score, we don't care. But
pros and cons. I watch the Canberra Raiders closely because they've been my team that I've been clearing. I have no idea what they're going to do week to week. That can be hard, and then that can be a problem. If a team, and I reckon it's an attitude thing when you play Canberra.
Yep.
If you have the correct attitude and you know that you expect anything, and you've got to rip in and you can frustrate them, then that could be their Achilles heel come finals. But also I'll look at it and go, there are teams that when they offload, Tom Starling goes down a short side to Simi Sasangi, flicks it out the back to Starling, tips on to Hudson. Like, they're just playing footy, mate.
Yeah.
And you can't plan to stop that. You've just got to make sure that your players are committed for 80 minutes because that's what they're going to do to you.
Well, you can say wrap the ball up.
Yeah.
But when the big Tarps and Pups are in the mood, you're not wrapping the ball up. You know what I think they understand well is space. Best tackle busters in the game.
Yeah, easily.
I will say as a team.
So
they get it, offload. Their halves know when to shift it wide to Timoko one-on-one or Chris one-on-one. They understand. But then you've also got Ethan Strain that gets in a mood and just goes left foot. They just want to beat you one-on-one. And sometimes, I reckon that's what Ricky would say. Strange, I think you can beat Josiah Papali'i one-on-one today.
Yeah.
And he'll just be like, yep. And he did, and then they win games.
Here's the challenge for you.
Yeah.
Run through Josh Papali'i.
And that's all it is.
He's Papali's Papali'i.
Yeah, so just, mate, and that's why they are scary. Because not many teams can shut that down.
So I think the part that would make them more scary, but they won't make the change, and I've said this before, Tom Starling is the heartbeat.
Yeah.
You can tell he's beloved down there. He's a goer. He competes on everything. He's a senior member. Sticky because they've got so much youth there. Owen Paddy, he's different. I can tell the difference in the way teammates support a player, which is a great indicator for me for halves and hookers. The way you run a line, especially close to the line, if you go back now, like I always tell this to everyone when we talk about the Raiders, go and watch the fashion in which Papa, Tarps, Mariota, Horsburgh punch the most courageous line inside the 10 metres, inside and outside AB defender when you know you're going to cop a lick because you've got to be ready for it. The difference in the way the middles run for Paddy and Starling, chalk and cheese.
Wow, that's a big call.
Chalk and cheese.
I'm going to put it out there. Owen Paddy's going to play for Australia.
Well.
Yeah, he's one of my favourite young guys I've watched in a long time.
I can't find a second source, but it's just coming out from some of the fan pages that Iongi is out for 6 weeks with a wrist injury. So that's basically the season for him.
So Dylan Brown will be back in. Josh Papali to fullback.
That's it.
Yep, Dill Brown. So let's get to
Not
Dylan Brown.
confirmed yet. It could come out later today when we publish.
All right. But if that's the case, let's get to Dylan Brown. Do you like the idea of – do you like that Riles didn't play him? What would you be doing in the situation?
I'm okay with it.
I can understand it
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, because you're thinking of the future.
Yeah.
You're trying to see what these guys can do, what Joash can do, what Hawkins can do in these situations. You know what Iongi can do.
Yep.
But Mitch and Iongi are the locks, but everywhere else is a question mark, isn't
Agreed.
it? So
Yep.
I'm okay with it. And then everyone that says the whole Dylan Brown thing, why didn't you go early? I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, so am
because
I.
for me, I want to finish where I started. I want to honour that. But then I also want to have a full preseason and form combinations, not just go up there and have a makeshift combination with a halves combination up at Newcastle that
Not
no one
gonna
knows
be
what's
there.
going on at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
didn't
see
even
both
think of that.
sides.
I haven't even thought of that. That's a very, very valid point because, like, whether it's Cogger's for the next couple of years, but I don't think Hastings and Gamble were re-signed. So you go up there, you're trying to figure it out on the run. Adam O'Brien's most likely not going to be the coach. So you learn in a system that you're not going to use next year. That makes a lot of sense. Roll said he's either going to start Dylan Brown or he's not going to be a part of the team because of those reasons.
Yep.
So most likely we see Dill back in the 6 jersey and Joash Papali to fullback this week if Lukey is correct with. But yeah, by the way, you've worked at the Dogs with Joash. Mase is adamant he's a fullback or a 9. Do you think he's got the potential to play 6?
Well, I've never seen him play 6 other
Yeah.
than at Para.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say about Joash is he's so elusive. Oh, like he was a guy at training where you're like, come on, man, just stop.
Yeah.
Like enough's enough. You know, like when I played first and you were going up against the Reggies or whatever, and he was like non-stop. From what I've seen as a 6, like he's got some nice touches, and there was one game where I forget who was his back rower, but he was linking up with him really nicely, and I've never really seen that sort of soft hands to him.
The week before. Who did they play the week before?
He made a few like line breaks.
The weekend was rough.
No, it wasn't this weekend.
No,
It
the
might have been
weekend
the one
was rough.
before.
Who did they play last week at Combank, Lukey? Because he had a pretty good showing there. Was it Penrith?
Yeah, they played Penrith on the Sunday.
He played short to Katonga.
Katonga, that's what
that
it was.
him?
Yeah,
Double
but
pump
even,
short?
But even the weeks, that was Dylan Walker.
That was Dylan
That was
Walker,
unbelievable.
yeah.
But no, even the week before that, they've formed not a bad combination.
Yeah.
But I don't know about 9 defensively. That's the only thing.
that's the one. I reckon he's a fullback. That sort of threw me. I don't know where Mase was going.
He's
with that.
like for me, he's definitely a fullback.
I thought maybe he'd seen some stuff at the Dogs training at 9, but
Nah, I think maybe because just 14 off the bench, you might have to cover 9
Yeah, fair enough.
sometimes, and that's the case. But
Yeah.
but for Joash, I think at the moment where Joash is at, he wasn't getting an opportunity at Bulldogs, nowhere near. But to get an opportunity at Para, he's at a stage where he doesn't care where he plays.
Yeah.
He's probably still finding himself.
Yeah, for
he
sure.
might like a bit of 6, so he's just got there buying in. You know, as a young guy, sometimes I don't know what I am.
yeah.
I don't know what I've got to do, but I want to be a first grader.
That's basically what Rolls has been saying.
and I
about
want to
him.
learn the traits.
They
what it
reckon even
takes.
when he doesn't play, he doesn't sulk. He's like he cheers harder than anyone when he's 18th man.
And that's what you want.
At worst, and I've said this a couple of weeks ago about Latu Fainu, I think at worst you got yourself a 14, and then you can see if he can be the halves option with Mitch moving forward.
Yep. Agreed.
Bulldogs 20 defeat the Dragons 18. Grubby, this is a much needed win for the Dogs. A huge play for Galvin at the end. Would you have preferred, as a Dogs man, a strong win or a match winner from Lockie Galvin, considering everything that he's just been through over the last couple of weeks and what the club's dealing with and some of the players that aren't Lockie Galvin as well? What was your thoughts on the play at the end, mate?
Well, gutsy play.
Yeah.
Hats off to him. And, you know, people will say, oh, Terrell Sloan, he come out of the line and this and that. Yeah, no dramas. You still got to throw that pass. That lob pass is hard
Yeah,
sometimes
big
because
time
you
it
don't
is.
have a job. Sometimes you throw it too loopy and the winger's got to catch it. Big ballsy call to come up with it. And, yeah, I've just every single week it's something always about Lockie Galvin. Let the bloke play. You know, like
how are the boys doing? You're close to it. Like, you know the boys well enough. Have they been, you know, the way that things are said away from football without throwing anyone under the bus, you feel like it's affected them in any way, or they've been dealing with it and getting on with the job?
Well, this is the way I look at it. Sexto went back and had a blinder in cup.
Yep.
Type of bloke he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Talk about not kicking stones. Goes back there and
Yep.
has an absolute blinder. They put 50 points. Forget who it was. Reedy is the other guy that's been spoken about.
Yep.
How good's he been?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Last couple, I reckon the decisions to not have Lockie on the bench last week and then not have Toby Sexton on the bench this week has benefited Reedy the most.
Absolutely. And this is the thing with Reedy. Like, so I love him so much. He's just obviously, like, you know, he would have wanted to stay at the club, but it's not happening. It's not happening now. but he still knows there's a good opportunity this year.
Yeah.
And he's still absolutely, and this is the thing with Reddy, he's been there from the start for the tough times, mate. And I hope for me and him as a bloke, I don't know why it's for me. Actually, no, because I want the Dogs to win a comp.
Yeah, fucking hope it is.
I want him to go out with a ring.
Yeah,
and I'd absolutely love that.
Cool.
But
I love Reddy too.
To answer your question about the type of win, will the Dogs have gone back and want to improve heaps? But this is a Dogs win.
Yeah.
Well, the Dogs aren't going to blow many teams off the park.
No.
We're happy to win defensive wins. Talking about defensive mindset, they'll be happy to win this every week. Sarah wouldn't mind a few
even when they had the blowout wins, right? Go back to the start of the year, 20-0 against the top. It was defense, and then they scored a couple of tries against the what's the wave of play? The run of play. The run of play. It wasn't like they were beautiful attack that was getting the job done.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, that Penrith game we've gone back to a few times.
Yeah.
That is how you win semi-finals. I know they didn't win that game, but that is a good loss.
Yes.
People will be like, what's a good loss? A good loss is knowing you can go toe-to-toe with the 4-time premiers in a big game like that and could have won it.
Yep.
You know, you know what I love about the Dogs? Connor Tracy, people will be like, oh, look at his try saves this year.
Yeah.
For me as a player with a guy like that, that's all I want to do. Look at Viliami kick out. Have you seen his change of speed in his kick chase and what he does to halves, fullbacks? We're not necessarily, coming up with all these big plays and these back rowers that we're talking about, the Halasemas, these big, attacking players. But, man, they work for each other.
I say all the time, Viliami Kikau halves the field defensively because you've got to be really brave to run at his side because he's going to get you either with kick pressure for the halves or when you see the wing is petrified when he on kick returns, mate. He comes screaming through
he gets it
and
right.
they have to stop on a dime, which they lose all their momentum. And then Birdo gets in there when Bronson Sherry's back at Ngari Tuala on the weekend. They get in. And the one thing that was noticeable for me in this game, which made the Bulldogs in the last couple of years, it's the physicality. I reckon their line speed, they absolutely were just sprinting off the line and bashing the Dragons the entire game. Credit to the Dragons and a few players we'll mention in a bit because I felt like they just kept on coming. Just like I felt sorry for I've got his name down here. Poor Sione Finau.
Oh yeah,
he got absolutely rissoled 3 times off a tough yardage carry on the left hand side of the field, and we'll get to him in a bit. But the Bulldogs were just hunting like a pack.
And Hoz, this is the thing, right? And this is where why the Bulldogs are so good. I watched on the weekend a couple of teams when they hunt, right? And they go after you and they make contact and the commentators go, what a hit. But they still lose the tackle. The Bulldogs don't let you off the hook like that. They hunt in 3, they lift you up, they jack you up, they put you on the floor or they drag you into touch. A hit isn't enough.
No.
They demoralise you. They are looking for people to go after, and it's every single tackle, and it's not just the hit. This is the one thing that I just watch them and go, I would hate to be attacking against them. And once again, I'll go back to it. Obviously, that year I come back had to go up against kicks in left on right a lot. I've never felt as much pressure in my whole life in a game scenario more than I did with kicks at training because his understanding of the double D, changing his layer to not just stand there and you watch teams, right? If a half gets the ball out the back rower can check and release, but he goes sideways. He goes forward at you, which makes you play. It is so hard, man. Yeah. And even to get – you've seen, there was one on the weekend where Kyle Flanagan just got one, a side kick out, like his groin would be so sore because kicks is coming for you.
I thought he got a little touch on that, but Flano didn't say anything. It went out on the full. Is that the one that went out on the full? Yeah, I assumed
that's the exact one.
Because I was like, oh, maybe there looked to be a touch. And, I felt – because during this period as well, when you played with Kyle, we'll get to him in a little bit as well, because I think the criticism has been too much, but also I think – they can help themselves, Kyle and Shane, by him finding another club. I think it will serve them well by finding another club, if I'm being totally honest. Just before we move off the Dogs, though, Dogs versus Manly, Sunday at Allianz, 4 p.m. on the Sunday afternoon. Unders and overs, 38,000 people. Capacity's 42. They'll go close to a sellout.
The only thing is, it's got to be all Dogs because Manly don't travel.
Manly are a lot better, mate. Not
better
during our time.
Okay.
So last year we played, the Roosters. Remember?
Yeah.
We had a good crowd turn up to the Bulldogs game. We had a good crowd turn up to. They're a lot better than what they used to be. and I reckon for sure you're going to dominate.
Yep.
I reckon 28 of the 38,000 are going to be dogs, but we'll get 10. We can get 5 to 10.
Well, hopefully, because it's going to be a cracker because it's the 30-year reunion. Big day for the Bulldogs, 95 grand final.
I've seen that.
So all the boys are coming down and they're all catching up. Just a few names: Silver, Halligan, Lamb, Polomounta, Jimmy Dimmick, Steve Price, Dean Pay. What a team. Jason
Jimmy
Hetherington.
Dimmick, he's going to be on the stuff.
He's going to be on the other side, but all the boys are getting together. I think they're having dinner, 95 team with our boys the night before.
Awesome.
So, and Sarah does that well.
He does do that well. Yeah.
So it's a big occasion.
All the best teams do. Appreciate who's gone before him.
Yep.
Flano was livid after the game with 2 calls in particular. One, I disagree with his kick out explanation. Kick out. There's no way you can say that there's any evidence to say that kick out was passing that forward when Slaney knocked it down. So I disagree with him on that one. I do agree that I thought the Carraz penalty was a knock on from Carraz and it should have gone the other way, and I feel like that was crucial against them.
They go either way, those ones.
They do, but more. I reckon it's more. I can understand why they went to the decision, but I reckon it's more 70-30, 80-20.
No, you're right. The other way.
Yeah.
Not the Carraz way. I'm with you. I was nervous on that one.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe we got it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the kick out one, either way, it went backwards anyway. And we got the ball back.
Yeah. The other one that I thought was a really bad one and which went against them, and they're just, at that moment, the Dragons seem like, every year they go through a couple of teams that just get a really bad run.
Yep.
The Sloan no try at the start of the game, what I thought was a really bad call. And Grant Atkins is one of my favourite referees. He was the video referee that made both the decisions. I thought he got both wrong. That was not your traditional pushing a player off the mark. That was competing for a ball. The ball bounced. That's a football play.
Yep.
And there was a bit, a bit of a touch, but it wasn't like blatant. And I thought they were really hard done by on those 2 calls.
It's a tough call, that one. I've got done on that one before. I actually got done on one against me. I'm not sure if you were playing. I done a little chip and chase and I pushed Cherry over. Well, I didn't push him. Going for the ball.
You're a grub. You
Football
probably did it
play,
on purpose.
And it got the try taken off me. But yeah, no, the slow one. He's going for the ball. He's competing. They're both competing for it. I think it was Carraz or whoever he's up against, or was it the other one?
Rinakama?
Had his back to him, but like both trying to go for the ball. But I'm gonna throw something out there for you right now. I think something I heard again. So I think I like Kyle Flanagan as a 9. So if he played a bit of 9 at Bulldogs just before he left, he was going great.
Yeah, I seen some of the games. He did play well.
So maybe like you said, leave Dragons and leave Dad just for both of your sake.
Yep.
There's talks that Adam Dewey is up. Dragons are after Adam Dewey.
Yeah.
Make him your 7. Atkinson's your 6. Adam Dewey, he wants to be in the halves.
Well, there you go. I was going to ask you about Dewey a little bit later on. You played with him as well.
I just know he wants the ball in his hands. He's playing lock now, but he wouldn't like defending in the middle. Adzi, I'm not having a go. You know me. I hate tackling like you. Our wrestling, we used to talk about wrestling all the time.
I was so intrigued to ask you about Adam Dewey once we get to the Tigers, but let's go straight into it because my thing was I liked the way that it looked because it looked like it gave them a third option because Taruva played that ball running role, but yeah, he doesn't strike me outside. I've got no relationship with him at all. But he doesn't seem like the guy that'd be super keen on getting in the middle and making 30 tackles.
No, and he didn't. He'll agree with me here. He'll come on here and tell you that. But he's doing his role for the team.
Yeah, good on him.
But at the same time, I know he wants to be more in the game. I don't think he wants to be out in the centres.
Yeah,
just the ball doesn't seem enough.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty confident he would see himself that as a guy that can control a team as a halfback.
So you think he'll end up at the Dragons?
Well, there's whispers. I also heard Penrith.
Yep,
are sniffing around. But if I'm Dewey, I think going to a Dragons team where you could actually be the half, he would want that. I think he wants to be the man.
Wants to be the responsibility.
Yeah, which is good.
Yep. Yeah. I think, if he does go there, he will be the man. If he goes to Penrith, obviously he's not. I think they might get him as a 14.
Yep.
And for Kyle Flanagan, my club for Flano, because I want him so far removed from Shane for the obvious reasons, get him out of Sydney. I think with Fozzie retiring, Gold Coast Titans, what have they got? Bucket loads of X Factor, ball runners. They just need someone that can get them around the park.
Yep.
Gold Coast, they don't have a huge fan base.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as ruthless as the Dragons fans, as the Dogs fans, as the Roosters fans.
Got some ruthless clubs, fans-wise.
Ruthless. So he could go up to the Goldie, fucking get Jaden Campbell and Brimo, Keanu Kinney the ball as much as possible, and do a job.
Not a bad call,
and
man.
worst case, doesn't work out, play 14.
Yep.
I think that would be if I was advising both Flanagans, I reckon that might be the shift. By the way, Moses Sully was fucking unreal in this game as well. He just has games sometimes where it's like 75 post contact meters and 9 tackle breaks.
He plays like an absolute man, throwing people off. Just it's so hard to handle, isn't he?
He's a beast. Seagulls 18 defeat the Storm 16. Grubby, here's a question for you. All right, there is one player from this game as a Manly old boy fan and wanting my mate Ches to win a comp in his last year that can make Manly a real dark horse in this comp. He is not $1 million player, so that rules out 3 players.
Yep. And
he provides a presence that I don't think we've had in a long time. I'll give you three guesses.
All right, presence. He's not $1 million man. I don't know. Can I say?
Just have a couple of guesses. I'll give you 3.
All right, 3 guesses.
3 guesses.
All right.
The reason why I think Manly can be a dark horse when I've had my concerns about sort of,
this position that this guy's in, you've had concerns. Tokiaho.
Got it in 1. He has been so good, and the reason, he was awesome on the weekend, and we at Manly haven't had a presence in the middle for a while. Now you've got Jakey's the heart and soul.
Yep.
He's going to give you everything he's got every week. Ola Kawatu's a problem, but he's on an edge.
He's back too.
He's back next week. He could be back next week. Paseka has been our man mountain, but the consistency hasn't been there. Takiaho is an alpha, I reckon. And when they signed him, I was like, fuck, it's a good sign. And I wish we got him a couple of years ago. I heard all the reports that the Bulldogs turned him down because he's injured.
Yep.
Mate, he has been really good. Undercover, really good for me. And I watched him closely, and I was speaking to Ches about him a couple of weeks ago after Old Boys Day, and they reckon everything that I'm saying, because I was like, Ches, this is what I'm saying, and he's like, he's that and more.
Wow.
He is such an important player for him, and he is the one player where I'm like, they can make it ugly for teams in the finals if they get there.
And you need that presence in the middle, because a lot of the big games are won up front, aren't they? You know, and you need a guy that's got that presence. Paseka, I feel that's when you struggled after losing him.
Yeah.
He's
a chance before the finals, apparently.
Is he really?
Round 26, round 27, they reckon.
See, now, that is a different ballpark if he's back, because he is just a big guy. You need men around him because he's a big guy. You just mentioned, he hasn't consistency or whatever. It doesn't matter. If there's a game, I remember, let's go back to the Dogs game in that semi.
That's the best game he's ever played.
He was presence.
Yeah.
And him and Holokuatu that day decided to, you know what? Yeah, we're that much bigger than you. We're going to bully you like Space Jam.
I've told this story before. They were at Chez's wedding and I was going to Paseka. I was like, mate, talking about the Dogs game, I got him. We're all blind. I'm like, you just fucking need to do that every fucking week. And no gun can fucking go with you. I love that. I said, do you know how much of a problem you are?
Yep.
And he's probably looking at me going, shut the fuck up. You're just talking absolute dribble at the wedding. But that's the game. And I think when he lines up and he looks next to him and Takiaho's there, I think for me, I just think Manly can ruffle a few feathers in the finals.
I'm sure you've seen this, but just the Ruben Garrick effort.
It's next up.
Man.
It's next up. I wrote that it's a season-defining play, and it's also if I am a coach in the lower grades at Manly and you're trying to promote what it takes to become, because there's no talent involved in that.
No.
He's fast, Gaz. He's got a good build in that, but that's just all effort, and I would be showing that as much as I can for if I'm Seeps going into the finals in big moments, and if I'm fucking in the under 20s, if I'm under 18s, and we go back to training, you're showing clips for years.
Yep.
For years. It was a huge play.
Huge, mate. And I just love to see it. He turns 2 or 3 times, changes the speed, and he just still didn't give up. And that's just all it takes. It's these things sometimes in games that you get nothing out of it.
No.
But they miss that kick. They win the game by 2. he wins the game for you.
he
That is what
kicks the penalty goal
that
too.
is exactly what,
Yeah.
and I just love to see it. I think Turbo's finding his way in the centres.
Yeah.
It was they're building nicely. I think finally they've found their groove.
He looks as healthy as I've seen him in a 3-game span in years. Defensively is where I think he looks so much better as well, because even the play that Ches come up with on Nous, which was huge.
Big tackle.
And look, they've scored some, like Xavier Coates scored 3 tries, but think about the way that it was a kick over top of Lehigh Apuati, which is a bit of Lehigh's up, like it's an edge problem, but more so Lehigh getting out leaped, which is just a huge play from Coates. That play from Ruben Garrick, that was the other one, broke down the right-hand side, then scored on the left. And then it's escaping me what the third one is. But the biggest beneficiary for Turbo playing right centre outside of Ches, and then if they get Olaquatu back this week, Luke Brooks has put together his best 2 or 3 weeks since maybe his first 3 weeks when he arrived last year. Because all the extra number, if you're a fullback, Grubby, you're sending the extra number to Turbo.
For sure.
And Kohler's having some jam. Garrick's having some jam. Brooksy's playing unreal.
They've got a really nice variety if they use it well.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. Like, where do you go? If Olaquatu comes back this week, which I hope he doesn't for the Dogs, he just creates... Ches knows how to use him.
Olaquatu versus Kickow.
Wow. He just gives him early ball. And they had a bit of a battle that game as well. They went after each other, so that'll be good. But you're right. Brooksy I love it when he just sort of steps up. It's sort of like the defensive team sort of forgets about him. Show and go or hit short, and it's going to be a game.
What's his what's his demeanour like? What's he like he doesn't really give much, does he?
But mate, he's one of my good mates.
Okay.
Good, one of the probably my best mates out of footy. I loved him. Mate, all that pressure he had at the Tigers, it was all on him. Yeah. Nothing ever changed.
He was starting to cop a lot of criticism at Manly circles too, especially when Ches was moving on. Everyone was like, all right, Brooksy's going to be the guy next year. What can we see?
Yep.
The last 3 weeks have been awesome for him.
He's a competitor, mate, and the thing is too, he goes hard. I love defensively. You watch him; he goes hard after back rolls and stuff. And I think he's going to be speaking about the key in big games. If they rest on him, I think he'll take his opportunities.
Yeah, I like it, and I think he's really going to complement. The reason I love the Fogarty signing more, because obviously I didn't want Ches to leave, but signing Fogarty allows Brooks not to be that player.
Absolutely.
I don't want Brooks. to be
I'm with you. I like him at 6.
Manager. Yep. All right, let's get to the Storm. Are they the team to beat? For a lot of people's favourite. I know they've struggled this year in night games. They're day game specialists for sure, but the finals are played at night. 67% completion is very un-Melbourne-like. A lot of people have them favourites. Are they your team to beat? This is just a blip, and they'll get back to their best.
Yeah. They'll be thereabouts, mate, especially in the big games. And I know a lot of people would say the same thing. The crazy thing is with them, it's everyone talks about their spine, right? But I'm looking at Katoa and Blore as well in big games. You know what Melbourne can do sometimes, and sometimes they don't do it well. You were speaking about tries and teams going away from it. If they've got a bad set, Hughes can just go to Coates, and you're probably 70-30% of getting a result, aren't you? Also, but then you go to Katoa. I've never seen a back rower. Nenai was unbelievable a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But this guy, he's actually like a fullback plucking him out of the air. Yeah. It's just actually ridiculous.
They don't get bored with it. If they get you somewhere and they open you up, they won't go away just because Drome's killing it one week, Money won't go, oh, fuck, I want to give us some tries. No, that Money will just keep distributing the ball and let him and Katoa. That's why was it 2 weeks they scored, Hughesy scored 2 and Katoa scored 2?
Yep.
No,
they'll be thereabouts, mate. Yep. They just have these little sort of, I suppose, would you call them like lapses and I don't.
This is the closest thing they've got to a rivalry game too. Manly, I know from my time, proper get up for Melbourne.
Yep.
They love them. It's in Brett Stewart's still a part of around there, and I know that anyone who's sort of comes through at Manly, they know how important it is to play well against the Storm. Well, that's why I tipped them to beat the Storm.
Oh, did you?
I did,
nice. Don't tip them this week, mate.
We'll go on 13 plus this week.
Jesus.
Tigers 21 defeat the Titans 20. Grubby, this is a huge 4-point game for the Tigers. 4 points now clear of the Titans, which most likely helps them avoid their fourth spoon in a row. And the part that I loved, I hated the way the game played out for a number of reasons, and I'll get to that for the Titans. I'm frustrated with the refereeing. But I love how frustrated Benji was after the game because he knows it was a sloppy performance. You're at home, and they were very lucky they got handed a couple of really favourable decisions. And despite, you think Benji, 4 points clear, but you could see that it just didn't sit well with him. And that's a great sign for a team that's trying to improve and you're trying to change the culture at the club.
I'll say one thing, Hod's playing at the Tigers, playing at Leichhardt Oval, there was lots of messaging from the likes of Benji and the likes of Robbie Farrell when I was playing with them. Leichhardt isn't going to win us the game. Because you think with that fan base there, you got the hill, what could go wrong? You know what I mean? There's no absolute chance. Yeah. And I reckon that's what he might have been angry about because they didn't put in their best performance. No. I think, they might have, I don't know, but they might have relied on, just coming in and rolling through the Titans. Titans are going poor this year. We're going all right. Had a bit of that about it. But look, in the end, they got the win. Probably Tigers of old might have let that one slip.
Fair.
I reckon. Like it's got to a point, but they kept fighting. I thought Taylor May was off the charts.
You could tell Terrell loved it as well. Terrell was almost playing left edge back row because he wanted to link up with him so much.
I've never seen so many brother link ups. Honestly, I've never seen it. It was like they were played in the backyard. But talking about a strike centre, I think that's what the Tigers have needed.
Yep.
Where there's some sets where you're like, where are the Tigers going? But then they'll just here, Taylor, and have a crack, 1-on-1, beat his centre.
Stafford Toll's having a career year.
And this is the thing, right?
Yep.
You can use those
Taylor
guys.
on the left, yeah.
Use them. If Jerome and Fainu can't create what they're wanting to create, sometimes it's literally just about playing that, the block shape, giving your back rowers early ball to play off the back of them. So it was a big win for them. They needed it, but it's good. I like what you said about Benji. It's not where they want to be at. They're a way better. I think they're a way better team than that. I think Coruscant off the bench. It was looking like it was going to be the perfect play, but then he didn't. At the time of the game, I just thought
it was going to be perfect. They rolled on at the 20-minute mark. There was a play the ball error, Fanua Pole, and then fucking the Titans dived on the ball. Then they never got the ball back for
That's
ages.
right.
Yeah. It was, and that was the first tackle.
It was.
And Fanua Pole, I think Benji was looking for a second wave with him. For those who just joining us for the Tigers and Titans chat, Grubby talked about Dewey at lock, which I was going to ask you a question. Felt like Taruva was laying the spot like a lock.
Yep.
And the third ball player was Dewey with the shifting.
Yep.
And Benji, I think, even said it himself, he's just doing the job for the team, but it's probably not his ideal position, is it?
I will say, though, he does create, Dewey can play nice and square into the line to create some space out the back for the halves. But yeah, you watch the good 13s. It's their variety. It's dropping people off, setting it. It's a tough role. Even as a half, you think, oh, you know what? Yeah, I can square this guy up in the middle of the field. The forwards can't go laterally, but it's about mixing up and making sure that you distribute the ball when needed.
I was going to ask you about that too, actually, and I forgot to put in the notes. What was it like at the back end of your career when you're coming through with the Bulldogs and they're like, all right, if you're not going to play 6 and 7, we might have you playing that dummy half 14 role, playing through the middle. It sounds like you should pick it up because you've been a long time spine member, but no, it's not easy, is it, for everyone?
It's different because I'll say defensively I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
not in the Bulldog system.
Yeah,
no way. It's too hard. I'll be honest with you. It's crazy hard, but hence why I'm completely honest in saying that. But even with the attack, I just remember speaking to Chatty Randall, trying to get it right and how exactly to do it. I feel at times I did get it right. You're dropping people back under to get to a spot, then you're tipping on to get to you're moving the forwards around the park and then giving it to the halves when they want it, but playing nice and square to play at the back to open space for them. Whereas some of the 13s, I feel they're still that very forward drift overs play, and you can just sort of slide off.
They're thinking about the way they look when they throw it and how is this looking? And
exactly, it's not about the actual the pass.
Yowie goes to the line and just goes looks it at the back, keeps nice and square, so he's still got that run option and just goes
like a half.
Yeah,
and that's what all the best ones do. But yeah, it's a big part of the teams now.
Yeah.
A lot of teams use it, and a lot of teams are going well off the back of it. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they sort of put Dewey. But yeah, like we said, we spoke about him before. I think.
Just trying to get my notes up. Have just disappeared on me for some reason. Are your Wi-Fi working? Here we go. We're back. We're good. They must have heard me. Titans. Very rarely do I blame a result on a ref. I've done it before, but I also do it with constructive criticism. And I think people may take this the wrong way. I think with the female referees currently, and Belinda Sharp, who's done more games than Casey Badger has, and feels like in the last couple of years, Belinda gets the odd opportunity. Well, I was speaking to a former referee about this, about like what's the difference, what would be harder for the women, speed and fatigue. Like you think about, and people might think that's crazy. The referees have got to be super fit to be on ball all the time, and if you get an opportunity to go watch like the positioning of referees, if you're at a game, like you have to be within like the little would it be like a pendulum? Is that the best way to explain it? They've got to be so close and on.
There's
board.
like an arc around the
like an arc, yeah.
Yep.
And I think sometimes and this is not a knock on all future women referees. I just think with Belinda Sharp at the moment in the games that I've watched where she misses calls, I feel like she missed 3 knock-ons that were crucial. One of them was 100% Jerome Loy when he knocked it on before he put in that.
That was bad.
That was the worst one. I thought there was another one with Alex Twell, and there's another one that's escaping me now. I think she misses those because it's a speed sort of maybe fatigue thing at the back end that her male counterparts have compared to her. So I don't know if you can ever get better at that. Like I don't think she's ever going to get faster at this point of her career, and that's where I think she makes mistakes. So
Mate,
they were
do you
really.
reckon you can get wiser in that sense of being in better spots
For sure.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
Maybe that's where she can get a little bit better, but
Positioning, like
positionally,
like the more reps you get, the better positions you get. It's like anything. It's like comfortability with
certain
defense
points
as well.
of the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
So that's my thing. Like, and I know there because, like, even if I critique and I try to be constructive as I can with Ashley Klein sometimes and some other referees that I think there are better referees.
Yep.
And I've been about that for a while, but I thought her missed calls at the back end of the game were the difference in the Tigers getting the win. Des will coach his 500th game next week. Is there a chance it's the last? We've all probably seen the video. You've probably seen the video clip by now.
I saw it as I landed this
Yeah,
morning.
as you landed. Grub, you've got a relationship with Desi going back to your time at the Dogs.
Yep.
Is it his last game? And then if it's not, and do you think he can he get the best out of Gold Coast up there at the Titans with this playing group?
Well, I think so from my experience, but at the moment it's sort of not looking like it, and I just think with what has happened this year, with a few things being leaked and stuff, it doesn't seem like the Titans are on the Des page.
Yeah, agreed.
And I seen the blow up, and I've caught
Thoughts?
thousands of them. Nothing.
Have you been mid-shower though?
Mid-shower, everything, mid-feed, mid-sleep. No, but that's just the norm for Des. But for me, if you're the Titans thinking about possibly, if you're going to keep Des or not, at least he still cares.
Yeah,
like he does, man. What would happen was, right, he would have spoken to them already. Mm-hmm. And then he wouldn't have got a point across. So he dwells on it and thinks about it, and then all of a sudden he goes, get back in. And
I seen Jammer was talking about it, maybe on his podcast with Triple M. So he did the speech, maybe went and did the presser, and then maybe someone had like set something off in him, or maybe asked a question that made him think, or like during that process, and then he come back and he was like, "Fucking, and you know what? Get back out of this."
Yeah, or even just seen, and it always used to kill me, like maybe the mannerisms of his players, of like
laughing, joking in the showers, potentially.
I honestly, and it used to kill me.
Yeah,
like I used to be, and I've said this before. I used to struggle with the music straight on after a loss. I used to struggle with it heavy.
Yeah.
I just was like, how are you even thinking of that now? You know, but you sort of just get
I've got a
used to
lesson
it.
for you. I had one at Melbourne. When Para, we played Melbourne. We were a young group, and it's a funny story. For years, it took me. Now I'm a little bit older, and I can see what the problem was. But we had got flogged by Melbourne down at Melbourne. Steve Kearney, he'd come from the Melbourne system. Brad Arthur. So they would have been furious because those are their peers that from the years before. Anyway, so we get flogged, we get on the bus, we go from the bus to do recovery at the old Collingwood setup, and then after that, we get back on the bus and all the boys start joking around. And mate, a few of us are talking about our favourite comedies and our movies and all this shit, and we're laughing and we're joking. Steve Kearney sprayed, in particular me, like I was one of them. I was one of the guys that he pointed out. There's a couple of the group. He goes, we've just got fucking pumped by 30. You're talking about your fucking favourite comedy from
Talking about Step Brothers.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was all the best. It was like, all the classics, right? We're going through. He's like, do you ever fucking care for the game? And at the time I was like, fuck, it wasn't straight after the game. This is all me just trying to process it. And I'm like, at this time I was going through a really rough period with him as well. So I felt like I was getting targeted.
Yep.
Anyway, but like looking back on it now, you understand it. You understand little things that can tick off coaches. At the time, victim mentality. I was like, fuck, he's trying to get me. Like, he's off me and all this sort of shit. Like, the game's finished. We did recovery. Now we're on a bus. We're going to the airport and he's pulling it up. Like, all these little things. But like I said, you keep going until you mature. You get a little bit older. You think about if you're now do they have the same care factor? Not everyone's
the same.
Not everyone's the same, right?
And that's the thing. And that's what I had to learn. Everyone's a bit different. It means more to people than some, and I understand it now. I have a daughter and I understand that some guys see their kids changes everything and it would do that to me now. Yeah. It really would.
Yeah,
but you don't see that back in the day, do you? I'm just like how are you over it so fast? We just got dusted.
Here's the thing, and I've said this before about the Manly, because I never had Des, but the boys that I had there, that I knew, that I played with, proper footy heads. I know with our relationship over the last couple of years, Jammer, Mick Ennis, obviously, all you guys are proper footy heads. The Titans don't strike me as guys that just live and breathe footy. Like I know for sure Manly do.
Yep.
With the relationships that I've had with you guys over, I know that how much you love the game. Not to say they don't. It's just my outsider looking in. I feel like that playing group
really good point.
are not a Desi sort of playing group.
No,
and that's where that could go against him.
Live and breathe it. And want to come in and actually this is a convo on Monday. If you lose, right, with Des. Grubby, how are you, mate? Like he got over the angry part. How are you? Good. How's the family? Before you could even answer, he goes, come in, I just want to show you this clip. But I was okay with it because I was like, I want to get better. Yeah. But I feel, if you're bringing in a couple of those boys there, they're like, hey, Des, how are you, brother?
Warriors 20 defeat the Knights 15. I said for the Warriors, refer to the Red Bull chat for my young buck and what Webby's doing there. The Warriors are 4 points clear of the Bronx with a soft draw. Do they hold on?
I think if they lose that game, it's a different story. Yep. I think the Broncos come charging home, even the Panthers. But I think they hold on now. They play the Titans at home. They've got a few very winnable games. But, we mentioned it before. They're a tough side. They're a different side, the Warriors these days. They're a side that are going to hang in there. They've got some real talent, but I just think the losses of Metcalf and Barnett eventually in a big game is going to bite you in the backside.
All right, speaking of big games, Metcalf injury, Tanner Boyd, I want to ask you about him. The wobbly legs at the end for both field goals and obviously the penalty goal stands out the most. Does it concern you at all? Because and the thoughts on his performances the last couple of weeks. For me, he's such a better goal kicker than Luke Metcalf. Like I reckon you can see the process, everything, the way he kicks the ball. But in those moments, does he have the swag of a guy like Luke Metcalf, who at the start of the year against the Warriors or against Manly, I think he was 1 from 5 with his goal kicking. And then Manly kicked it dead on the full and he stepped up and kicked a penalty goal from 50 metres out.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
so there's just, I think Tanner Boyd's a better kicker, but it's more so
in the moment. Yeah. It's a great call. It's so different in the moment. And people will say, it's like even with the drop goals, like some icemen, we'll call them. They step up and nail them. They get the kick away. Both of his attempts were erratic, I would say. But don't get me wrong. I'm not having a go at him because I've been in that situation. Kick pressure is a bastard.
Yeah.
It's coming hard, but then more the place kick. Should have kicked that goal.
Yeah.
And that.
I think the second one was going to be his best one.
Yeah.
Jackson Hastings got a hand on it.
Yeah.
I think you only get a short period to see how the trajectory looked good anyway.
Yeah.
But who knows what it would look like. What a huge play by Leka Halasima though.
Just a big play. Just a huge play. 10 metres out, he still had 3 people on him. He should have passed. He should have passed to the inside.
Yeah. There was cover.
But
Probably
still.
should have passed. If you draw him past, you steady, maybe that player gets tackled as he's an athlete.
He's an athlete, man. And then I'll also say about the Hastings offside. I think the ball, the person who was playing the ball
Step
moved.
forward. I'm with you. I was thinking that as well.
So how can he be onside if he's stepping forward? And
It was again going back to, it's more of a 70-30 one as well, where I was like, I could see where the person who has been deemed to be the offender has had circumstances from the attacker that have factored into the reason.
Yep.
Like Luch, going back to the Luch one, he was just getting up, plants his foot, doesn't move it forward.
Yep.
Kraz tries to play it in the area. And he's got to have control of it. And I think it was Fish.
Could have been the Fish,
Playing the ball potentially. Fish plays the ball, sort of moves forward into Jacko, which makes him move out. And he becomes unsquare for sure. He's not square at marker, but the play the ball factored in as well.
You know, just quickly going back as well, the one that we didn't talk about, the Harry Grant penalty.
Yeah.
It's got to go. I don't think this is a black or white rule anymore.
Okay, so I think that's because of the rules. I think that was clear cut.
No, but
you have
I'm
to,
saying
but you don't like the rule. You got to change.
It's got to be grey. And I'm a kicker.
But what if you see something? What happened to Lockie Elias against?
I know, but a grand final is going to be decided on that play. A grand final. Are you happy with that? Because I'm not.
I would hate to lose a game for a team that I was following like that. You're right.
What about if you're playing Hoz to get to a grand final and you lose it on that? An effort play. Like he's not diving at the legs like me mate Little Jammer done. Yeah. And he admits that. Yeah. He admits that was the wrong play.
Yeah.
But this is different. Like this is a different play. He just literally he touched his leg. I don't know, man. Just for me personally, I think it's got to be a grey one.
I hated I seen the vision of the Lockie Elias on Freddie last week. Different one. General play kick, not a field goal. But then the week after, that's when they clamped down on the rule. And Manly, we were against it. Who wasn't Jazz Defanga? Someone went and put kick pressure on Sean Johnson. He kicked the penalty goal. And that was 2 weeks after what happened to Lockie. So that's why I didn't mind the rule. But you're right. It'd be one of those things I'd hate to see it in a big game. I would hate to see it.
Well, right now it's going to happen because they're doing it. And it's happening a fair bit.
It's going to be close contest.
And you think, Hoz, it's at the end of a game. You're fatigued. Yeah. You're gone. You're putting everything in. Yeah. It's hard to just stop on a dime. It's and I'm a kicker man. Yeah. I should be like, nah, protect our legs. Yeah. But the ones like that, I don't know. That's just me, man.
Okay. Also for the what a huge game for the Knights too, by the way. I felt we texted each other straight after. Felt really bad from the way they went down. And it's one of those things you forget that like what players put themselves through week in, week out. Like I'm way more far removed from the game than you are. But like it's until you see something like this with sickness and players dealing with injuries and all that, you realise how hard is the NRL week in, week. Like if guys get sick, if you get the man flu, you just don't turn up to work. If you're corporate, even some of the tradies, right? They might call in and have a day off. You can't. You've got to be bedridden. You've got to be hospitalised to pull out. Like 12 players couldn't do captain's run, crazy, and they turn up and put in a performance like that. So Newcastle will be very proud of those players. And I also want to start a petition. There is a petition already. The Knights didn't trigger a $400,000 clause to resign Dane Gagai. His presser was one of the best that I've seen in a while. I don't have the presser saved up, but just the way he spoke about what it means for all the boys. The Knights, $400,000 is good value for Dane Gagai.
Have him around.
Yeah.
Like just, he's Knights through and through. He's game on the weekend, by the way, at fullback.
Yeah.
Wow. Like unbelievable.
And he toughed it out. He looked like the punish of a cork there. He would have been crook. So, I've seen that there's a petition to sign with Newcastle and they're trying to get like 20,000 signatures for the Knights to sign him.
Sign him up.
I'll sign it for you, Knights fans. Whoever started that, considering we're talking about Herby Farnworth as $1 million,
Yep.
in comparison, I know he's at the back end, but $400,000 for Dane Gagai is good.
Agreed.
Grubby, thank you for joining us,
Love it, bro.
mate. Always good to have you in. Appreciate it. And we'll try to get more of you too. We really want to try to organise something. If it's not at the back end of this year, for sure moving forward next year, we want to get you involved with the small full time. So I really appreciate it, brother.
Keen, brother.
And
Thank
golf day. Chance? 50-50?
Big chance.
chance?
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Because that's
And
all coming
we're
around nice.
Friday this week.
And we are Friday this week. I just want to check a couple of to go on Friday this week. We won't give you a preview of the Thursday game, obviously, but this is the last day we've had all over the shop with the different days that we've been dropping podcasts. But because it's 2 days removed going into Thursday, we'll drop the podcast on Friday morning.
There we go. See you then.
See you then.